Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. However you happen to be watching and or listening to this, I want to welcome you to the latest episode of the Gaming Circle podcast. The podcast where I guess you could call us a dynamic duo, and we are back to regale you with some fun, interesting, light news week funness in this morning, but we have games to talk about, and of course, I'm your host, Mr. K. Asante, TK Asante, and all the places we communicate. And I'm joined by the man, the myth, the legend, the betrayer himself, Mr. Everborn Saga. What's going on this morning, sir?
Oh man. All right. So I did something new today. I am also streaming this on my X account and the YouTube. So we'll see. Yeah. We'll see how that works. I don't know if the YouTube makes sense because we're talking inside baseball here, people, but I kind of want to maximize the
reach of the channel,
the funnel. I want to maximize the reach of the channel, but like the channel itself needs to grow. I think X brings people to the channel. I don't know if dividing it between two YouTube channels makes sense, but we'll figure that out. No worries, bro. Now, yes, very interesting title. Yes, very interesting moniker I've gotten today. We'll get it. We'll get into it.
But, yes, we will.
How you doing today, sir?
I'm great, man. I'm great. And by the way, I'm on the Gamers Playground. I've advocated for John Wolf to do exactly the same. So he streams to his channel as well. Some days we find that we get way more views even on YouTube, on Twitter, than we do on YouTube. So
I think
I
think the X thing is good. It'll funnel people to the channel. I just don't know if diluting the YouTube.
It is what it is, man. There's enough.
But anyway, we'll figure it out.
Wherever you want to watch it, we are down with you.
These are offline conversations.
Absolutely. But good morning, everybody. I see a lot of fun conversations already happening in the chat. Good morning. Thank you guys for being here. Like I said, it's a light news week. But that's good because then we get to talk about some games and really get into deep dive into some of that stuff. There are some interesting news topics to discuss, though. And also, Mr. Everborn Saga did a thing, and I've been using it against him ever since he did that thing. But no, in earnest, we're going to talk about your journey and all the machinations there within. Let's see here. Before we get started proper, I will not be a bad host. I will say, please hit that like button because the algorithm needs to be fed. It needs its likes. It's free. Go ahead and hit that button. Also, consider joining the old Discord. You see the Discord link in the chat right there. We have a lot of fun there, including game giveaways and things like that. We'll be dropping more game codes and stuff as we go along in there. So thank you all for being members in that way. If you want to, you can also be a member of this here channel as well. You guys have been really powering the show. We really appreciate that. And on that note, actually,
wait a minute.
Put up the screen of our members. Absolutely, okay. I'll put it up there.
I was getting ready to call you out, but you put the numbers up. There we go.
You know, we got to do this. I got to remind myself that these are the things that need to happen, and I appreciate every single member for.
And if you want your name on this list, you can become a channel member.
Absolutely. And on that note, there's another thing I need to speak on, a little bit of housekeeping, and that is we are a part, and shout out to last week. If y'all checked it out, great show. We had Holly, that blue number, come back on, and the master of coin himself, Ben Kenobi, was on to talk about his journey to making those amazing coins that we all love and appreciate. Now, we're also now going to be a part of the giveaway, the coin giveaway situation. We're starting small. Our first contest in earnest, which we'll work the logistics on how that all comes about, but we're going to be giving away 5 Hellblade 2 coins, and we have I think it's early May that the contest ends, so we'll devise a way of doing that. But I will tell you, if you're a member, we're most likely going to put your name in twice, so consider being a member. You'll get those coins that can't be purchased, can't be found anywhere else but through these giveaways. We appreciate y'all for being here. We appreciate Holly and Ben for adding us to that equation. There'll be more with us and them in the future endeavors, but in the short term, we're going to be part of that Hellblade 2 coin situation. And yeah, if you've seen the show, if you've watched it on YouTube or seen it on X, the coins are something worth having. Like I said on last week's show, in a world where keeping physical is becoming a dying situation and it's not really worth the space anymore, these coins may be a new offset to keeping memorabilia from the awesome games that you love. So I think it's a really cool idea, and I hope people will take part. We'll double back with you on how we devise the contest and all of that. Mr. Everborn, I don't know. Did you catch any of that show last week? You should hear Ben's story, bro. It's amazing.
No, last week was crazy.
I expect as much. Yes. But no,
it's a funny story too. We can talk about it later, but
okay.
Last week was just a gang of confusion.
Mm-hmm.
But it'll be a fun story for another time.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, we will get started in earnest. I see some people already in the chat. I see you, Lucius, dropping that slander on the X streets this morning. One of the first thing I read was like, well, we'll get into that one in a little bit. Anyway, shout out to you, good sir. JD Gamer, Pixelbit G. I see so many great faces and so many great names in there. Of course, always early. The Latin Quarters himself, MJ Dark, with a 3 member. He's been a member for 3 months. That is wild to me. That's amazing. Thank you so much for that. He says, maybe if ever Rebellion Moon Saga didn't stay up late watching Rebel Sleep last night, he would have been here on time. Okay, how about that guy Jima? Shut up, man. Good morning.
Actually, we watched 5 minutes of Rebel Moon. I tried to watch it with the missus for our Friday night movie, and then she was like, "Turn this shit off." And so we ended up watching Late Night with the Devil, the Dave DeSmulchin IFC Shudder horror movie. It's
y'all are horror movie people, though.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So now I have to go back and watch Rebel Moon tonight by my lonesome because nobody in the house wants to watch it.
I kind of want to rewatch part 1 and then kick into part 2 just to get the full effect. You know what I mean? But yeah, we may, and we have some kind of movie show talk today as well, so we may get into that a little bit later. They do a recap in the opening of the movie, so you don't have to watch the first one. You don't have to. Okay.
It'll literally tell you exactly what happens.
Excellent. Okay. And of course, JD Gamer here. He says, no news. That means it's speculation time. Yes, sir. I wouldn't say this. It's all speculation. We have some other things.
We have a story to tell this week.
We have some other things to get to, which would be interesting for the congregation, I suspect. So thank you for being here with a $2 super chat. And then the man, Pixelbit G, with a $5 super chat. He says, good morning to my brethren, and praise be to DLSS and Frames this morning. The power of I9 continues to bless you all. PC gang, hell gang. Wow. The cult is in full effect this morning, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, man, I should be wearing a robe. I should have some book that says PCMR on it. Lord, all right. They're getting really, really messy in the DMs about that. And of course, not to be outdone, the great J Mac, also a member for 3 months. He says, shout out to the great beards. We them boys, we outside. Xbox World Orders in full effect. Salute, gentlemen. Salute to you, good sir. We appreciate you being here on a Saturday morning, or it would be Saturday midday for him. He's a little bit. No, actually even earlier. He's 3 hours behind us. So there you go. MJ Dark, not to be outdone again. $2 super chat. He goes, the next Horizon title equals Horizon HZ Rebel Sleep Moon. Yes. Okay. Yeah. All right. We see what you're doing. You talk a lot of smack, but I see you playing Forbidden Sleep on them handhelds, sir. So I suggest you don't bring that smoke here. You know what I'm saying? And then of course my co-host, the man himself, Mr. John Wolf, also a member for 3 months. He says, "Pay pigs unite." Yeah, your wallet is hurting, not mine, sir. He's been doing some spending this weekend. This week I should say. Oh, and of course, it wouldn't be a show if you hear JD Gamer's name and he gives you that interesting take. He must always include it with another $2 super chat, and he says, by the way, Port Begging Pony still got no game. Sir,
pathetic.
I need a shirt. Pathetic. I need a shirt. and then there's hooves on the back. It's a whole thing. Yes. Thank y'all so much for being here. This is awesome. Like I said, we got some news. There's some interesting stuff out there, but not enough to warrant a long discussion. But I kind of want to jump into a few stories here and there. But before we do, we start this show like we always do with the games that we have been playing. Sir, do you want to go first or should I?
I'll go first. Okay.
Okay. What have you been playing, sir?
Well, this is okay. You know what? Because what we're gonna talk about, I feel like that kind of informs what I've been playing. So
yes, I know. So you want me to go first?
Well, no. I'll just do cliff notes and then we'll come back to the experience.
Okay.
So I finally got into Cyberpunk Phantom Liberty.
Oh, yes, sir. Speak on it. Yes,
all sorts of amazing. And remember, I played and beat the game 85 hours in. If you count my time on Xbox, it was over 100 hours because I played them separately a little bit. But 85 on Steam back in 2020. So it was my first time touching the game.
Oh, since that time? Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So like it might as well be a sequel, like a full.
Which it kind of is. It kind of is, yeah.
Yeah. And so I'm picking everything up. There's a new like skill tree and things like that it didn't have before. New moves for melee combat, weapons, all these things. And so I'm kind of picking the game up like it's new. I almost want to start it over. But I don't know that
you don't need to, like, to my understanding, it's not a situation where you have to get to a certain level before you unlock Phantom Liberty. You can literally start and head right to Phantom Liberty. So yeah, it would be interesting to start new, but kind of like if you recall The Witcher, where when they released Blood and Wine and all of that, you could just start from Blood and Wine and start moving. This is that way, right? So it's almost an expand alone, if you will, that just kind of launches off of the same game, even though it's in the same world. So it would inform your gaming, but it may not necessarily add anything like specifically different as far as your loadout or whatever, because you kind of start from scratch, Yeah.
So that's where I am. I just met I saved the president. I just met Idris Elba, and now I'm waiting for him to come back. And so then so that's where I am in that. Really enjoy it. If you didn't play it before, or if you did, this is literally like a sequel in every way you could imagine. And I kind of understand, like, okay, best ongoing game didn't make sense, but I understand the need to want to give it praise for what they've done. Okay, so then there's that. So now I was finally able to, for reasons which we will get into later, restart Dragon's Dogma.
Oh, okay. We did get a message. I think it was I'm not sure who sent the message, hoping that you'd have more Dragon's Dogma stories for us this morning.
Well, my character is now 6'4".
Oh, okay. So you took the measuring tape to it this time. I got you.
Yeah. And instead of bringing another fighter with me as my main pawn like a doofus, I have actually brought a mage with me.
That's right.
And the mage can heal me because they're so stingy with their health system. Yep. So I'm getting into fights. I'm doing things. I am not as far as I was before I lost my entire save, but it's I'm having a better time with it now. So we'll come back to that. I do not see a noticeable difference than what was on console, which is weird. But we can talk about that later. Which is actually kind of disrespectful when you think about it. But and then Harold Halibut.
Yeah.
So if you are a fan of Tim Burton movies, like this is like sci-fi Coraline is the best way I could explain it. And this happens in the beginning, so I'm not spoiling anything. but it is on Game Pass, so check it out. You don't have to spend money. I bought it just because support the indie devs. I don't say support the devs. I say support the indie devs.
Yeah.
If you're making AAA games, you don't need my money. But
right.
when indie devs make something interesting, I think even though you get it in
and
Game
they put
Pass,
so much into it,
you support them directly. Because when a lot of people say support the devs, what they mean is support their favorite platforms, and usually it's people on saying support PlayStation, but whatever. But you're really saying support the publisher when you say support the devs. But if it's actually an indie dev and it's actually indie published, support them, buy the game.
That's right.
And usually they're not beating you over the head with $70. Anyway, so the premise of this game is that you are on a spaceship that has crash landed on a water planet, and you left a couple of 100 years prior. Since then, Earth has basically been destroyed or died. The planet died. And so this is the home world that you are coming to. And you crash landed and found out there was actually no land on this in this habitable zone planet. So they basically had to build a big a habitat underwater, and now there's some contact being made. That's just that's just where it starts. That's where I am. So this is all done like modeled with claymation, apparently. And
I would say check out Xbox Era. They did a full write-up, visuals. They got like assets from the developer, how they put this together. It is painstaking. They literally started this project with zero coding experience. They had an idea, they had no skills whatsoever. And through the course of, I think, 7 years or something, they refined their process to the point where it released this.
Made in Unity.
Indie. Yes, truly indie fear, truly grassroots, like so inspiring. But yes, continue.
Now the problem that I have with it is you can't really run. And so you have to walk everywhere. And in the beginning, there's a lot of walk here and then walk right back there. And they don't do a great job in showing you the things you can interact with. So you kind of find yourself just walking back and forth, tapping A, hoping it does something. And really all I've done so far is tap A. But so it's like you're playing it for the story. You're playing it for the art style, but it really is a point and click adventure for the most part. Like there's no mouse, but you do walk around. You walk to this thing, hope you can interact.
It's an adventure game. Yeah. It really is that old school style adventure game. Yes, it is. So,
but if you're into this sci-fi kind of thing, the world they built is super interesting. It has its own economy. It's really a Oh, Lucius says to run, press X on the controller. I tried that. Didn't work. Did not work.
The tutorial needs to be a little bit better explained.
So no, but I highly recommend this game. Again, if you have, most of the people watching here probably have Game Pass. So check it out and give it like a half hour. It's going to start slow, but just give it a half hour. Get that first like event, because when I say there's an event where you watch a broadcast and they kind of give you the backstory of the whole world, that was enough to draw me in to say I'm interested in this world and I want to see what happens next. So then the other thing I'm playing, which is going to dovetail to what you've been playing, which I said that I wanted to wait.
Well, hold on. Let's get that. We'll get that to the end. We'll be back to the end because you and I have been playing both of that together. Because I saw you this morning playing that. So let me quickly talk about what I've been playing, and then we'll talk about that last one in the end. Okay, real quickly. And I know most people, it came, it went. Most people didn't give it a chance, but I actually tried it out over the weekend. And if it wasn't for this other game we're talking about, I'd still probably be playing that. And what am I talking about? I'm talking about Avatar, the Avatar game that came out that seemed to come and go and no one paid attention to it. Have you tried this Everborn Saga? Are you interested in Avatar in any way?
Absolutely not, and I have no plans to. So I'm gonna
Really?
have to live vicariously through you. So
I had to try it because while people had various issues with gameplay elements or things like that, one thing that everyone agreed on was that it is one of those games that is a serious looker. Like seriously, they recreate that world in a way that is like powerful. And if you know Avatar, the movie, if you've seen one or two or both of them, you know that it evokes that style, right? And obviously, Avatar also uses CG, so there's a really high probability that this won't look as good as that because they're using, you know, very high-end equipment and very high-end CG techniques versus a video game that no matter how much you slice it, you're not going to look like the movie, right? But everyone was talking about how good this game actually looks and the moment to moment and how similarly it is to the story and how it doles it out well. So I had to give it a shot. I gotta say, like, I think, and maybe, and I've heard the criticism that it gets very Ubisoft-like in its moment to moment, and it turns into a Ubisoft game, as they say. I haven't gotten there yet. I'm still in the early stages, and the next game we're talking about will tell you why. But it is very impressive, man. This game looks amazing. If you are part of the folks who game on higher end machines, you need to try this. For the visuals alone, the game is like seriously gorgeous. Like I was quite impressed. And as you say, Everborn, you know, the game has to start off with a bang. This starts off with a bang. You know, it starts off with like with an escape from a military facility, and then it's off to the races. It's quite good. I haven't honestly, I haven't tried it on PC. I mean, I'm on console, which I can because I got this through Ubisoft Plus, which, by the way, pro tip, I think we've said it on the show before. If you are a member of Ubisoft Plus, you have access to both the PC and the console version, so you can play, you know, between them. I specifically wanted to try this because they said it was a visual benchmark, so I played it on the 4090. It is really good, like beautiful, like excellently so. Like I know they've made an Avatar game before, and that was like seriously dog water. I did not appreciate that, so I wasn't predisposed to want to even try this. But after everything I heard, I tried it out. It looks like the game, the movie. It plays like the movie. The story, the way they dole it out, how they do it, the attention to detail in the world, the way the Na'vi speak, all of that. It's very like earnest and respecting of that source material. And I was a fan of the movies, so I actually think this is pretty good. I wouldn't say obviously the ship has sailed on whether it's going to be the next big crazy game that everybody loves. It came and went, but if you find this on sale, I think you should buy it. I think it's quite good. Like it really is worth playing. It's really worth trying. I mean, I'll report back when it eventually turns into a Ubisoft game, you know, where take down this tower, take down that tower, right? I suspect it will get there, but in the early stages of it, I am thoroughly surprised at how really quality it is. So Everborn, I know we're going to be talking about some things soon enough, but to put your new machine through its paces, I think you should give this one a shot, sir. There are very few games that make a bigger machine worth its weight to see. This is one of those.
Is it on Steam?
I do not know. That I do not know. See, I wasn't going to buy this game because of all the negative reviews I heard, but I wanted to give it a shot. So I subscribed for like, what is it? It's $18. And then I played this, and I played the Prince of Persia game and all this. So it might be, I don't know, but UB tends to be wishy-washy with that sometimes. It might only be through their service on PC.
And sure. What's happening, Omatoni? Sorry. How you doing? Glad to have you back.
Welcome. Yes. So, you know, this is not to convince anyone. I'm just saying, I'm reporting. If you happen to play this, if you happen to see this on a sale somewhere, you might want to pick it up. It's actually, it doesn't look like a cheap cash grab. It doesn't look like a cheap, you know, oh yeah, we'll just like leave it out. We'll send it out to die. It looks like they took care and they really made a good game there. It just didn't hit the way people wanted it to hit. So it is what it is. Before we continue on, I will say shout out to the almost 300 people for being here. I see a lot of people on the Twitter streets between my channel, Mr. Everborn Saga's channel, and the Proper Gaming Circle channel. Salute to y'all. Welcome. maybe consider heading over to the YouTubes, hitting that like button. Maybe you want to chat with us. That's a thing that they need to do, right? They need to let X chat with the people here so we can all be one chat base. You can't chat if you're on YouTube, on Twitter, which is unfortunate. It's a chat platform. They'll figure that out. I hope so. But thank you all so much for checking us out. Thank you for being here and being a part of our viewership. We appreciate that. Before we continue onward, J Mac with a $5 super chat. He says the PlayStation casual fan base continues to betray the hardcore. I love to watch them implode. Wow. Kendra, Bridge of Spirits coming to Xbox. Hashtag Xbox World Order.
Kendra.
Sir, Kenna. I had Kenna Bridge of Spirits, and I beat that game too.
Have you had your coffee yet, sir?
Actually, no, I have not. Maybe that's
Uh-huh.
Maybe that's what it is. But no, thank you for the super chat. I enjoyed that game. It is just harder than you think. It's kind of old school hard. You know, it looks cute, so you think it's gonna be like a cute little game. It's actually quite challenging. But I enjoyed my time with it. So I'm happy that it's on Xbox. I hope more people get to play it and maybe give it some new life, you know? But all right, let's talk about that game that we are here to talk about. Sir, you have been playing No Rest for the Wicked. I have been playing No Rest for the Wicked. I will let you start it off because you played it more recently than me. I think I may have a bit more time in it than you. What is your first thoughts on this game?
So I played for a little bit last night on the new machine. Again, Barry in the lead. Yes. And then I played this morning to see how it felt on the Steam Deck. And we'll talk more about that later, but it does feel like they're still figuring a lot out. I mean, if you follow them, if you follow the No Rest for the Wicked X handle and you follow the studio head, you know, they're still patching this as they go. They're taking feedback. I think I saw him tweet out, we want to turn a 58 into a 90. So is that the initial review for the game? 58?
58. Well, there's a lot of mixed reviews on at least on Steam right now. And let me be clear. I know some folks out there have asked, why has this not been part of the Xbox preview program or early access? This game is early access in a real way. You can definitely tell that they are optimizing as they go. As you said, Everborn, it may not be to a level where it'll even be good on Xbox yet. Like it's hard on your hardware. Like it is.
I mean, the performance is one thing which I can deal with because I'm not a stickler for that.
Yeah. And by the way,
these body proportions are wild.
They put them yams in there, bro. Whoo! They put some yams in there.
And the dudes here clearly skip leg day.
That's right. And the girls only have leg day. They have nothing else.
Yeah.
But yes.
But I see Lucis's comment. We're gonna get there. We're gonna get there. But okay. Yeah. So it still feels like there's a lot of balancing and polish that needs to happen in terms of the combat and gameplay. I think it's interesting, but I don't know that it feels as satisfying as I would like it to yet. And I don't know that I feel as in control as I would like to, right? Like, so when you can play like Elden Ring, right? Impossibly difficult, but a lot of the times, the timing was you when you get hit, right? This doesn't feel that way yet. Like the parry is too unforgiving, and the animation that you have to look for, it doesn't really match up with your muscle memory and when you would press it, right? Like, and so, because usually in a game, they'll exaggerate the pullback before they hit you, and when you see the exaggeration, you press the parry button. Here, that's not what you do. They're gonna do that exaggeration, and you still have to wait until it's right on you, and you have this tiny window of exactly when it hits. So I think these are things that they have to balance in the way they want it to work. And like just item, like using an item on the fly. You think you press up, but you don't. You press up and then you like select your defaults. And then once you select your default, then you can press up. These things are not really intuitive in terms of using a potion really quick for health. I also feel like, and again, this is just me complaining at this point, but I really feel like in today's world, like your health should regen when you're not like, if you're away from danger, or
hashtag get good situation. Like
well, it's not that. Like, it's just you know, there's ways to manage it. I just don't know if it's balanced well. Like, so like for Elden Ring, you had to, and I keep bringing up Elden Ring, but
I was about to say you're evoking a lot of energy of the similarities, man. When I do
no. Well, what I'm saying is you will bring back like, so there's some games where, okay, you sleep and you can bring back your health, right? Yes. There's games where you're out of danger and you bring back your health. And Elden Ring, you go to a campfire, it brings back your health. But with Elden Ring, the campfires are everywhere. You're never running more than like 2-3 minutes without running into a campfire. And so you have to mitigate that if you want your combat to be as unforgiving as it is, especially if your parry window is so punishing, right? Like there's something has to give something.
Let me ask you this. Like, I think you might be depending too much on the parry. I agree with you. The parry window is garbage. And as we've said already, this game is really early access. It's not that, we're just trying to get the money real quick. This may be early access for a while. I'm not sure, right? Beyond the optimizations and all of that, it seems like it's early access in its gameplay mechanics and its balancing and all of that. But I think I'm like almost 6 hours in now. Like my initial
bones are good.
Yeah, the bones are amazing, and we'll get to throwing the flowers because I have many flowers to throw at this game. But I'm thinking early on, I realized that you know how some games in that Souls-like genre push you to one mechanic versus another. Oh, you have to parry, otherwise you're done. I feel like this game does not necessarily do that. Parry is there. It's not useful to me. So I started roll dodging everything. And it's been amazing.
Yeah,
like,
but
that's
even
how
then,
I've been able to get that.
Even then, and I'm glad you brought that up, right? Roll dodging, it has a tax on stamina, right? And
True.
So
yes, you have to be strategic in how you do it.
Becomes, but then I can't attack when I roll dodge. And I know I can build up stamina to make that better. I get it. But I feel like the base is like you have to scale that, right? So I should start out having some fun and then meet a difficult enemy and be like, all right, I got to level up my stamina. This is like the enemies are kind of, some of them are stronger, but
any enemy can murk you and make you feel foolish. Any enemy at all. Like, and early on it does. Like, oh boy, they will clown you, and you may see me die multiple times. Hey, you come here for the traditional thing of GCP, introspective conversation, loving of games, and bad gameplay. So salute to y'all for being here and watching. Any enemy will murk you, and they will do it gladly.
So to that end, I think it's important early in a game to provide some level of fun,
hand-holding, make you feel like they got you before they
a little bit powerful, and then pull the rug out from under you.
Yeah.
And I felt more frustrated with the combat than I felt like I enjoyed it. Like, the world is super interesting. But again, I see where they're going. I feel like it's going to be a great game. But if we want to talk about, if you want to lean into roll, look at the roll in Death's Door, how smooth that was. Sure, right? You felt like you could get away with things and then come back and attack.
But again, that is a game that you played when it was done. This is literally mid.
No. Right. Well, what we're talking about is constructive criticism right now, right? Sure, I'm not crapping on the game. I'm just saying I feel like it's in a place right now where it needs balancing in terms of the feel of the combat, because again, how good the combat felt in Ori, so I know they're capable of it. Absolutely. I just don't know that this feels that good yet. I'm sure they'll get there.
I think a recent update has kind of changed the balancing on the stamina a little bit, like just recent, like as recently as
they put it out. They put it out late last night, and that's why I played it this morning on the Steam Deck. But on the Steam Deck, I was playing it from choppy frame.
Oh man, John Wolf advocating for cutting of corners. There you go.
Man.
Corner cutters, you know,
pot meat kettle, right? Mr. Kesante, who's laughing at that.
Hey, you need to calm yourself, sir. You need to calm yourself, because just because you do not have the tools at your disposal does not mean that you get.
I could have the tools at my disposal.
No, you don't.
And I don't know that I want those tools, sir.
And that is your option, sir. See, and what people are talking about. What if you don't know what we're talking about? I'm the person that advocates that, and I did it with Cyberpunk. The first playthrough, you play it how it plays, right? I enjoyed myself, get the essence of what the developers were looking for. After that first playthrough is done, I go in, I mod the thing up, and I'm Spider-Man in Cyberpunk world. I'm climbing walls. Okay. I'm stealing.
How do you explain Dragon's Dogma 2 then, sir?
Dragon's Dogma 2 is them disrespecting my time, sir. That's what that is. That's what that is. But yes, continue. Go ahead.
No. I just needed to understand what I was trying to get a baseline. See where your morals and principles were.
BT, my moral is, if it's not multiplayer, get out of my way. BT Maverick 707, $5 super chat. He says, "Do you guys think No Rest for the Wicked? No Rest is going to have co-op? I see there are a lot of different emotes, and what else do you
we don't
have another player?
We don't. Yes, we don't think we know.
100%. They've already telegraphed that you know, and that's why there are those pieces in the puzzle that you can definitely tell is waiting. That's why it's a single player game now, and you can't pause it, right? Which is a little bit weird.
They said they're working on pause, and when they were talking about the update, it's not out yet, but it's on their list of things to work in. Yeah,
but it's definitely going to be a multiplayer co-op type situation. I just hope that microtransactions aren't on the way as well. It does kind of sort of look like you could implement something like that down the line. I don't know. What do you think of it, boy?
Yeah, but I don't know. I hate these forever service games.
Yeah, me too, man.
I don't want this to be a thing where it's like they keep expanding the world, and then you can buy more of this, and we want you to be playing this for 10 years and all this other.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But but I feel like we've been talking crap from jump on this game.
What's happening, Sith Lord?
I must say, I am not one, and everybody knows this, right? Everybody knows I am not one for the Souls games, right? I'm not one. Salute to the Sith Lord. I'm not one for that kind of a game, because I feel like it's a little masochism. Like, I don't want to beat my head against the wall. And frankly, a lot of those games are my feeling on a lot of that is because those worlds, with the exception of something like what's the PlayStation exclusive one? Darn it, the one that only came on PS3 that people keep wanting for another one.
Helldivers 2.
No, not Helldivers. I'm talking the Souls-like game. Bloodborne.
Are you going to say Demon
with the exception of Bloodborne and Demon Souls? No. With the exception of Bloodborne, I think most of these games are ugly. Like they don't evoke. Like, it's not, you don't want to be there, right? It's all gameplay, and the gameplay is king, and I in no way, shape, or form disagree with the gameplay being king. That's why you are there, right? So games like Elden Ring get to give you like dribs and drabs of story that makes no sense, but the gameplay is so masterful that you forgive it. All these games, I even say, you were saying Demon Souls, the Souls remake. People think that game is beautiful. Yes, some of the bosses are amazing, but as you're walking through the world and there's the highlights of the enemies there, it's just kind of ugly to me. I've never been that person, right? It's either not attractive to me, or the story is a vague backdrop to the keep going further, right? This game has me because it is so freaking beautiful. I have never, like, it is so beautiful. I paused the game just to see, like, because right now we're on the ship, right? And it looks good even here. But like when you're in the normal world, like, I've paused the game. I mean, you can't pause it. I've sat there with my character just sitting there, and everything is moving. There is nothing stagnant in this world at all. The rain is going, the wind is blowing, the grass is just wafting in the breeze. It's like there's so much cacophony of vision going on there. And the animations are like, man, like late stage Ori beautiful. And you know what I mean when I say late stage Ori. When when it really is kicking into high gear. They start from that here, right? It's just so beautiful. There's just so much to see. It's every frame is a photo, and I've taken like 1 billion photos. It is just too good looking, and then it kicks you in the teeth over and over and over again. But it's so beautiful, and the cutscenes and the beginning story, it's so intriguing that it kind of keeps me going back. I'm like 6 hours in. I never play these games for this long. I'll get in there. I think I did play Elden Ring for quite some time. I got close to the end, but eventually I was just like, no, this is.
And all I heard was you are no Elden Lord.
Sure, and I will be glad to say I am no Elden Lord, sir. I am no Elden Lord because I have a good sense of self, and I don't need to prove anything to anybody. It is what it is. But
or you just don't have a certain stick-to-itiveness. You get the job done as long as it takes, even if it takes you 4 months of no life in it on one boss.
Maybe.
Goddamn fire giant.
You see, but for me, like you got, just like you said, right? You got to get me there, and you got to keep me there, right? And this game, as much of just like I've talked about Balatro, the card game that I hate card games, but I'm addicted to. I play that game constantly because it got me. Even though I'm not predisposed to like the genre. This is a Souls-like in not every sense of the world. It's got a lot of Souls-like energy, right? As you said to me before, it's the developer's attempt at making their own Zelda-like. And it kind of, I see it. I see why they say that. More than I even see why that. You know?
I see
get
it
into
with
the world.
Have you and stuff?
How far have you gotten in the world? Because I beat the first real boss. And now I'm in the city.
I'm not that far.
Yeah, I've beaten the boss, which took some time, and now I'm in the city proper. And when you get the sword and board thing going, I can see where it's like, as Lucius is saying, it's like Souls plus Diablo.
Yeah, that I can get down. I can get jiggy with that. But I don't connect this to Zelda in any way except for the cooking. To me, it's Souls and Diablo.
The Zelda part that I can see is this is not a straight line. You don't just kind of go, like, you have to explore and come across your own things the way you come across them. Like, I spent a lot of time lost in this world, like just lost, just looking around, trying to find, and the game is new. There's barely any tutorials out there. I wouldn't even want to have any tutorials, right? Like you benefit from exploring every nook and cranny of this map. And that gave me a lot of Breath of the Wild energy. You're just running around. A lot of the physics in the world is realer than you think. So like boulders will roll, like bodies that you kill will continue to be there after. Like you were saying about the Soulsborne games where you can rekindle your fire, your health at a fire or something like that. In this world, I don't care how many times you've died. I don't care how many times you've respect. If you killed them, they are dead, and they continue to be dead. They don't come back, right, at all. And I know this because I've retraced my path in this world to find my way through multiple times. And all of the dead people I killed, still there, still dead, bodies still lying there. Right?
That's one place I'll give it credit. So like when you die, like, okay, it sucks you died, but you keep everything you had, and you don't have to re-kill people. So that is, you're it's just gonna mean I gotta have to walk to that place again. I also, one other thing, and I don't know what it is about this, but like I'm not finding myself, like I don't have a sense of direction. I feel like I'm just walking around, but you're
lost. You get lost. Eventually you find your way.
I'm lost, but also like in terms of knowing where I am and backtracking, like I don't feel like it. I don't know. I don't feel like I know, like, okay, I remember this place. I need to go around that corner. Right. Yeah. So I could die and then not even recognize that I've walked down this path until I'm further down it. I don't know. I just feel like the sense of place or mini map or something.
It's not quite there yet. It's not. It's still evolving, and I don't disagree on that. And like I said, that's why I spent a lot of time literally just traversing the world back and forth. And you'll see more of that as the game is played. Like you'll see me breaking a lot of barrels and stuff. It just feels so crunchy and good with a controller in your hand, just like
Yeah,
breaking
you know
stuff.
it doesn't feel good
What's that?
when they're trying to attack you and you're trying to dodge, but then you got no
Yes.
more dodge, and then you can't
Yes.
parry because the parry window is too small. That doesn't feel good
that's
at
the
all.
thing. It's a strategic thing.
And
Like,
this
see,
is
and
one
look,
person you're fighting. What happens
one.
when it's 3?
When there's multiple people, yes. Any and everyone can murk you. The game, as beautiful as it is and as amazing as it looks, it wants to teabag you. It wants to see you on the floor, and it wants to look at you while you're on the floor and go, "Who did that to you?" Hashtag King David. You know what I mean? It is beautiful, but it wants to put you down over and over and over and over again. And it does if you let it, right? It is very early access. I will give you that. And I was listening to shout out to Jesse Norris from Xbox Era. He was streaming it as well. Like, he's way further. Like, it was an achievement for me to finally beat that boss. Oh yeah, as soon as I saw him, I'm like, nope, I'm getting out of here. No. It was an achievement for me to finally beat that boss. He's already beat the boss. He's in the city. He's doing stuff, right? And even he says it, like, there are parts of this world where you have to backtrack to go back to your chest or something like that. And it's a long trek back to the place where you went to go get your chest to find your stuff. Like, there's a lot of backtracking, and it doesn't give you that good sense of place, so you know easily where to go and get that stuff. I finally got into some what do you call it? You can teleport and move to different worlds. It took me a while to unlock that, so eventually you do unlock that. But even that takes a long time to get to. There are growing pains here, but this game, I mean, I've never felt like I want to beat a Souls-like style game before. I'm sticking to this game. Like, just the visuals alone and the storytelling, the way they dole it out, the characters. How far have you gotten in the story? How many cutscenes have you seen?
I mean, I've seen the new Prince, and that he's already set certain things in motion. And he seems like a bit of a jerk, but I kind of understand where they're coming from. So I like that. There's a little bit of gray area in the politics of it. I'm trying not to spoil.
Yeah, of course. But a lot of Game of Thrones energy, a little bit. Right, you know, you can kind of see that they're doing that.
You see the new Prince. You see people that are trying to guide him in a certain direction of taking more caution, and he's like, "F that," and then he has like this religious zealot. I don't know if that's his mom or stepmom or whoever she is, but she's all too happy to get things popping. We'll leave it that way. I don't know who that person was attacking the ship in the beginning, but I'm sure I'll find out soon enough. That's sort of what I've seen so far.
Okay. I mean, like, so just so y'all know, for those who joined a little later, No Rest for the Wicked. Right now, it's only on Steam. They're doing their early access, like proper early access.
You know why? Because there's 3 things that are certain in life.
Don't be
death,
slanderous.
Taxes, and every game you love coming to Steam.
Well, I will say, I suspect the reason why it's on early access here is because, unlike the consoles, where even their early access requires certification and getting it to a certain level, they could just put this out there and start the process of getting the game going, right? I think that because of the performance, as I've seen it right now, it's very much all over the place. So it might require a bit more optimization even before they get to the early access.
I should say the new update crashed my Steam Deck this morning. I had to hard reset.
I'm surprised it even runs well on the deck, because that game is like, from what I'm playing, it is difficult. It is difficult on handheld.
So what if you're following the team posts about this? So while the render frame rate is 30 and it can dip down to 20, I've seen someone say it's dipped down to 11 at one point for them. I haven't seen that, although I don't keep on FPS counters. The game just has to feel good to me. I don't like whatever the frame rate is, it is, but that's just me. But the input layer, right, that runs on a 60 FPS stable update, right? So it'll feel better than it looks, if that makes any sense. So like, you can all, because like I know some people have issues like, oh, I need to move around and these windows are so small, and then I need 60 FPS so that I can have like the fastest latency input, and this doesn't have the control problem, although it might have the render problem. I don't know if anybody cares about that. I don't know. Maybe it's a distinction without a difference, but it is there nonetheless. I played it on the Steam Deck this morning. It felt fine. Obviously, the frame rate was choppy, but it did crash the Steam Deck when I tried to exit. I should probably report that.
Yeah, maybe you should, because it it really does feel like they are taking feedback, they are optimizing, they are updating, both in a gameplay sense and in a performance sense. So that's why I'm thinking that if this may not hit early access even on the consoles for a while, because like you can't quickly iterate on early access on a console. They still require some level of quality, and this one looks like it still needs a lot of work in that realm. But again, man,
but here's the thing. I mean, realistically, you put this out on the console and everyone's going to play it, and their first impression is going to be something that is a work in progress.
Exactly.
And then, only one chance to make a first impression, blah, blah, blah. I think people on Steam and PC kind of understand that concept more than
early access has been a thing there for many, many years. We all understand what that is.
So
many people have understood
the point is we can't have nice things, because some of us will go and complain and not understand that this really is the purpose of this is to get feedback and test these things out. So they just want it to be in its best shape when it goes to console, because that's when the general audience is going to pick it up, and that's what it'll be judged on.
Yep, absolutely. Now, do we know if this is going to be Game Pass on Xbox? I'm not sure.
I doubt it. Okay. So right now the reviews are kind of negative on Steam. I think it's 58%. If it's not tracking well when it's time to come to release, I could see it happening. Meaning, like, if this game, like, okay, everybody's playing it, everybody's loving it, they get like a marketing beat, like maybe Xbox is putting out a new RPG and people want to take that down, so they'll compare this to it like they did with
I see what you're talking about.
But if that doesn't happen, and for some reason this still isn't gelling with people after some months or however long this takes, I could see it then. But right now, I just think it's such a popular, idea in the zeitgeist of gaming.
They won't take the bag just yet.
Exactly. I don't think it makes sense for them to take the bag unless, again, it seems like popularity is waning before the release.
It's waning, yeah. Although it is interesting, like I'm, and it surprises the heck out of me on the topic of the reviews. It surprises the heck out of me that even on Steam, where people are very used to these kind of early access situations, there's a lot of smoke for a lot of people. Like, people are like, oh, so if you're going to evolve the next formula of an ARPG, so you're just going to make what do you call it? What was that review I read? You're going to make it so that you have all these crafting mechanics, and you're going to make it so that you have all these survival mechanics, in addition to having a very super difficult Souls-like game. Okay, well, if you like that, take it. And then they give it.
This is at a certain point it becomes annoying and it becomes busy work, right? Like you get one of those things. If you want to be a survival game, okay, be that. If you want to be a Souls game, okay, be that. But if you're telling me I have to manage super difficult combat, unforgiving parry windows, I'm never going to let that go. But like unforgiving combat and then
keyboard and the seat problem.
Right. But unforgiving combat and then these survival mechanics is like, how much do you want me to do? Like, do you want me to enjoy this, or do you want me to work at it?
Well, I will tell you, and here, if you look on the screen right now, here's actually where I learned this, that when they go in for a strike, not only does it leave you open, it also leaves them open. So as long as you can time it right, you don't have to parry. You can just strike them before they're able to get their hit off, and that will count, and that will stop their animation, right? So once I learned that,
don't use the broadsword if that's the case.
Yes, that's the thing. And it's hilarious. Eventually, every time you respec a character, they hand you a different weapon early on, and they handed me the Claymore broadsword, and I'm just like, no, get me out of here. Eventually, I got the hand and that's another thing we need to talk about. The thing that I really enjoy about this is you don't have to respec different classes. You can just pick up a different weapon and focus energy on that weapon, and eventually you become that class. So you can, like you said, you can have the two-handed broadsword. You can really put some energy and time into it and unlock a lot of cool features there. Or you can be like, screw it, get a standard sword, and then you move faster because you have the standard sword, right? And you're able to be more dynamic in that way. Or you can get the thief's knives, and now you're speedy zipping across the map, right? Or you could pick up the staff, and now you're a mage. Like, you can do all of this with the same character.
Typically, I like to build tanks in these kind of games. So I don't have an issue with the broadsword. It's just that I have to focus.
It's slow.
More on it is, but you can focus more on stamina and dexterity, right? And you can get the speed that you want to an extent, but still have that massive attack power. So you have to build up your health because you're gonna get hit because you're a tank. You got to build up your stamina so you can be able to die. Like, it's fine. Again, these are not complaints. I just think it needs some balancing so that it feels more fair. And that doesn't mean you have to make it easier. I'm not asking for that. I'm asking them to balance it.
Yeah. Rick L asks, looks too hard for me. Difficulty options? So far, no. But so far, there's like, even if you check like certain PC settings like DLSS, it says coming soon. It is really still in development. You'll see if you watch a bit more of the footage, you'll see that there's a lot of energy, a lot of talk on what do you call it? The game can't be paused. They're going to add more to that. The game has emotes. It's definitely going to have co-op aspects. It's going to have multiplayer aspects. None of those have been implemented yet. So the bones of that stuff are there, but they're not actually implemented yet. So I hope that there are difficulty settings at some point in there as well. But the game, like, I just can't get over how it looks. It looks fantastic. Like, it's just, wow. Like, it is just so good looking. So much so that I refuse to stop playing it. And usually I'm the kind of the person that if you give me a keyboard and seat issue long enough, I have so many other games I got to play. I'm moving on. I'm still playing this thing.
This has me until Zao comes out, which is like 2 days. Like, and then I'll let them work on it and I'll come back to it. We'll see where it is after Zao.
And that's the best thing about this, right? You can easily just be like, okay, I see what y'all are doing there. A la Baldur's Gate 3. I'll wait till you work it out. I already bought into it, so it's going to be on my Steam library when it gets to 1.0 release. So I'll go play off some other things and wait till the balance establishes itself here in this game, right? So it's not like my first impression is soured by it. I think what they have here now is just so good. Like, it's just so good. Mr. John Wolf, $2 super chat. He says, "Don't worry, Kay. We got him with the PC. We mod next." Jesus, come on, man. Let him breathe before you throw him into the deep waters, sir. Anyway, but yes, I really think that people should keep this on their radar. For me, as a person who doesn't like Soulsborne-like games, the only game I put any serious enjoyment time into was Bloodborne. I really enjoyed Bloodborne because of its aesthetic. I kind of played Elden Ring because I don't like the story in Elden Ring. Elden Ring looks fine. I didn't really particularly think
what story?
It looked fine. Exactly, right? Whereas Bloodborne looked beautiful, also weird with the story, right? This has an amazing story so far. And it's like gorgeous. I have so many damn screenshots of this game. Like, no scene is still. There's always a million different things going on in that one scene. Even if you're just sitting by yourself in the middle of the woods somewhere, there's just, look at this. You land and the fire and the water and it's raining and everything's like, it is so amazing looking. It's just, this game demands HDR. It demands inky blacks. It demands playing it in HDR. It looks like excellent. I'm so enamored with the look of this game and how it, like, they're just able to keep it up. There's always something going on in this thing. It's just, and by the way, see that thing, that the bridge that's up there? It took me so long to figure out how to get that bridge down. Like an hour and a half, maybe 2. to figure out. And I kept going back and forth, just to figure that out. The game is punishing, but it's really, really beautiful. So, okay, I think we should leave it there. If you have a chance to play it, I suggest you do, or just wait. Eventually, it comes on console. I know it'll be on Xbox. They've already shown it off on Xbox as well. So I'm sure at some point you'll get a chance to see people talk about it, and it'll be back on again. But for me, I am enjoying myself. I'm probably going to go right back to it once the show is over. It is like, just the look of it alone is just, oh my goodness, it's absolutely fantastic. Anyway, so Mr. Everborn Saga, I think we'll leave this talk here, unless you have any last words you want to talk about this game.
Yeah, I just want to say, I know I sounded negative on it, but that's not my intent. I think it's going to be something very special when it is ready, but it is literally early access. And what I'm talking about is hopefully constructive criticism that, like, I want to see the game a little bit more polished in terms of, performance on the lower end handhelds and on the higher end, machines, and obviously on the consoles. But that's one part of it, because, that's a given, right? But I think it needs balancing on the combat front. And I know it's an RPG, so maybe when you update certain things, it will feel better. But like, its starting point is a little bit off-putting, and I want them to work on that so a new player can feel agency, like he can do something, while still understanding there's more to upgrade.
Ooh, and, yeah, look at me! I almost busted my ass in that one. It starts literally with the idea that get good. You wanna do something in this world, get good. Right? It doesn't start you with agency or power and then you get good, and then it starts giving you adversity. It starts with that adversity from jump, and I think that may not be everyone's cup of tea. So I definitely do understand, but that's what we're talking about. That balance and stuff needs to happen.
Highlight that last chat. The last
He says, I didn't realize Everborn Apple ecosystem guy, but when you game, definitely not Apple.
Okay, so
go ahead.
Here's the thing: I am an Apple ecosystem guy, but that excludes the Mac. I hate the Mac. I think it's a toy, and I never want to see it unless I have to, which is if I need to publish a game, an app to the App Store. But iPhone, Apple Watch, AirPod Pros, AirPod Max, Apple TV, live by it, swear by it. But I am an Apple mobile guy. Put a controller on the iPhone, like a backbone, or hooking up a controller to the Apple TV. That is super fascinating. And the most recent one, I didn't get to play it yet, but I will be playing it later today, is the new Turtles game.
Sure. I want to try that. I hear it's good. I want to try that.
Shredder's Fate or something like that, or Shattered Fate, something like that. I'm going to see if it's on the Apple TV, but I just downloaded it on the phone. So a little bit of nuance there. Hate the Mac. Rest of the ecosystem, I'm unfortunately stuck and I can't leave.
Flood Zitto with $5 super chat. Shout out to the penguins in the room. He says HDR, huh? Well, there goes playing it on Linux. Boo. You need to talk to your Linux overlord, sir. Get him on this side of the page. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're missing out because that game demands some good HDR to play. Yes, absolutely. Salute to you, good sir. Thank you for being here. We got to get Flood on the show one day soon. The man has a lot to say, and I want to hear him.
And that show is going to be titled "Why Gaming Will Never Be on Linux." So
the slander. All right. So let me stop for a moment and once again thank 370 plus people watching. Oh my goodness. Thank y'all so much for being here. This is awesome. We are spread across Mr. Everborn Saga's Twitter account, my Twitter account, the proper GCP Twitter account, and YouTube. 300 plus, almost 400 people watching this. This is amazing. If you are on the YouTubes, please hit the like button. Please consider subscribing. We do this every week. Myself and Mr. John Wolf will also be here on Monday nights talking more of that PC talk. And maybe we'll have some more people join us this week. We shall see how that goes. But before we get into your journey proper, sir, I saw a smattering of conversation online this week that I figured we just touch on before we get to what we're here to talk about it proper. And first among them is the idea that Fallout gets a second season. Have you finished watching the whole show, sir? No spoilers.
No, because I made the mistake of showing the first episode.
Watch your words. I knew you were going there. Watch your words carefully.
And now we can only watch it when we both have time. And that is a rare thing. Yep. And so we are only 3 episodes in.
Oh wow! You still have some catching up to do.
I
too made the calculation of watching it with the missus, and it also led to some delays. But eventually, we did get on the couch, and I've watched the whole thing. We've been.
It's funny though because we watched 3 Body Problem in one weekend. We knocked it out. It's just that since Fallout came out, like it, we just really haven't had the time to sit down. And when we had some time last night, it's horror movie night, so there was no Fallout. So I gotta catch up on. I'm getting spoiled left and right. We also,
I mean, you could justify it as a horror movie. Some of them monsters, boy.
No.
Some of them, it has some horror.
Listen, I'm trying to tell the kids to watch it, and I know they're gonna like it, but they just won't. It's impossible to get them to sit down.
Yeah. So we won't talk spoilers because obviously you're only a few episodes in, and I'm not going to spoil it for you. It is something worth watching. I think we can all agree that it's one of the best game to show adaptations. You were going to say so?
No, Drake Williams says Fallout was just okay. Go watch Silo. Silo is interesting. And I think because Silo comes from an old sci-fi novel, which the Vault Dwellers were based off of. Mm-hmm. And it's just more like if you made the Fallout show just about the Vault Dwellers and it was super serious. That's what Silo is. And I watched the first episode. Rebecca Ferguson and David Oyelowo are starring in that, so it's a very good cast. Yeah, check it out. It's on Apple TV.
You got me. Okay.
So yeah, check that out. 3 Body Problem was fine. You know what?
He refuses to stop.
All right. We're getting there. I like Fallout. I'm only 3 episodes in, so you can't really take what I'm saying.
We're not spoiling.
I do not. I think Halo Season 2 is getting a bad rap.
Ooh,
I think that.
Oh boy!
I
think the virtual tomatoes.
I don't care. Whatever. I say what I said, and I meant it.
I said what I said.
Halo Season 2 is exactly what I wanted in a Halo show. Halo Season 1 was not. And I think it should be given credit. Like Fallout's fine, but Halo Season 2 was amazing. Now I might get to the end of Fallout and say it knocks it out of the water, but you know what? They're neck and neck as far as I'm concerned. As far as I'm concerned, from what I wanted from a Halo show and what I wanted from a Fallout show, I think they're doing what they're supposed to do. But everybody wants to have revisionist history. Like it's not Season 2 wasn't dope.
So it's interesting you bring this up because I feel like that needle threads quite well. This show did as well as it has done. They have announced Season 2 coming out. Everybody's happy about it. And now, out of nowhere, Fallout 4 and 76 is hitting concurrent numbers that are higher than they've ever been. Fallout 4 has now become the best-selling game in Europe overnight, for reasons. What do we think happened? Like, what happened there? I think I know the answers to this, but I take the barometer of a good TV to a good game to adaptation becoming. It's good when people pick up that game again, right? When oh man, this is so excellent, I have to pick it up and I have to play. Fallout literally did that. Everyone's been giving 76 such a bad rep. as soon as the show was done, man, even I caught the FOMO. I went back and rolled a new character. I'm in 76. It's fun, right? And obviously, it's had the benefit of all the optimizations and the cleanup and making the game far more performant and far more, from a gameplay perspective, also more entertaining, right? I will, for me, I didn't feel the sense of rolling another, getting back into the Halo universe until the very last episode of season 2. What are your thoughts, sir?
I mean, the difference is, like with Halo. Again, this is why first impressions. Paris, I know it's convenient to say season 2 was bad now that Fallout is out, but we're not gonna act like everybody wasn't loving season 2. Stop it. Everybody stop this.
And real quick,
but again,
with him here, I may have to mea culpa a little bit, right? Just a little bit, because he's here. Although I'm Mr. Let me play it all, let me watch it all right now, right? Let me watch it all right now. And that conversation has been going back and forth with him and Rand and a few other folks. After this season, season 1 of Fallout has dropped, I kind of see why they would or should transition now to week. I kind of see it now because it is great, and it was great. And when we were done, my wife looked at me and went, "That's it? There's only one season? Dang!" She wanted to see the one season. And she is not a gamer at all, right? I do see like keeping the conversation going, keeping the zeitgeist moving. I lost X-Men 97, which keeps getting better, right? If they dropped all of it immediately day one, probably you would have gotten all your fill from it, those who like me, who binge everything, and then it would have been over. And then I can't talk to Everborn about it because he's on episode 3. But if it's week to week, maybe there's a chance that everybody follows along with you. So although I'm still Mr. Let me binge when I want to binge, I do see where Paris is coming from. I'll give him that one. But I'm sorry, Everborn, I cut you off.
Yeah. Anyway, so I just wanted to give Halo Season 2 its flowers, but what we're talking about is why didn't it bring people back? Because even if you play Halo right now, anyone playing it will tell you like it's actually really good right now, but that wasn't enough. And that is what happens when you break the consumer's trust. And I think that's what they did with the launch of Halo Infinite, and then that followed up with what season 1 was. So you had all that negativity around it, and now it doesn't matter how good it is, people just aren't gonna look back in that direction, unfortunately. But I will say, to be fair, Halo actually has been higher ranked on the Xbox store, where it is typically more played, and Fallout is typically more played, I think, in the PC space. And so we could be seeing it there. And these are numbers, they're not like Starfield numbers. They are, 50,000. That's a huge jump for that game, right? Sure. 50,000 concurrent. So
but that's 76. And then like it's selling out, like Fallout 4, right? Best selling game across Europe, right?
It's also $3, right? Yeah, so like there's things you have to
give it away. They're giving it away too,
right? I mean? So listen, I bought it, right? It was $3. What was I gonna do?
So you bought it when it was $3? I bought it full price way back in the day. I just never.
Sure. But I'm just saying, if you're seeing those numbers, and this is a good thing. Like the show is great, but if we're just focusing on the reason why one thing didn't happen versus the other, I think overall Fallout holds a better place in people's minds. And it's
the only part of that I question is Fallout, true, right? And we're talking about those who know Fallout, but it looks like Fallout is benefiting from The Witcher. It's benefiting from Edge Runners. It's benefiting from Arcane, where it's bringing new people to the mix, just like they did. Whereas Halo didn't do that even with new people. And eventually, Halo, like we in our bubble and in our zeitgeist, we had very, very much issues with how they implemented it first, right? I hear that, right? But Paramount Plus, like, put it on its back. They were jumping up and down. Their biggest hit, right? Beyond Us, it made numbers.
Okay, so I do want to be clear.
The question is why did that not translate to more people jumping in? I wonder.
I think that's it, right? I think it's the people that you had behind those shows, right? And so I will grant that Fallout and Last of Us and Arcane and Edge Runners are in a completely different tier than what the Halo show was. But if you look at the people behind those, that will tell you why. I don't think you had
you do make a point.
Greatest team.
You do, and actually, to your point, it's funny if you look in its history, probably, and I can't prove it, but I'm sure if I really needed to, I probably could. That Halo script, that Halo show, that Halo idea was floating around Hollywood way before any of these other ones came and hit with this stride. Halo has been kicked around for a long time, way before Xbox, like in 360 days. Halo as a series or a movie has been kicked around over and over and over and over, while Fallout, eventually Fallout got to where it got, and they came out with it. Eventually Edge Runners came out and they came out with it, right? Whereas all that time, Halo was still in the background, kicking around, getting directors, removing directors, getting writers, removing writers, getting funding, removing funding, over and over and over again. That might be some part of the puzzle as well.
Also, I think we can move on from this because it's not really the point. What we're talking about is Fallout. I think as good as I believe Halo Season 2 was, it was still held back by all the bad things from Season 1.
Mike, a little bit.
I'm far away from it. I said as good as I think Halo Season 2 was, I think it was still held back by the bad things of Season 1. And if they had started with Season 2, I just think it would have been in a different place. But yeah, so people have the bad taste in the mouth. You still have to answer plot threads from the first one that didn't really make any sense, like Maki and all that. So there's that. But back to giving Fallout its due flowers. Can we talk about that soundtrack for a minute?
Oh, see, now you're gonna make me turn. You're gonna make me turn into Infinite Umbra. I don't want to set the world. No, I won't do it. I'm sorry. Never mind.
No. So
great. It's
soundtrack,
great.
Amazing. Cast,
amazing.
Even more amazing. I love stories that follow different people in different parts of the world, and then they all have to come together. They're using a certain human body part as a MacGuffin, and I think it's great. And like this is a completely different tier. So do not take what I'm saying as any knock against, what do you call it? I'm just trying to give Halo Season 2 its flowers.
True. And I appreciate that. I do appreciate that. I ain't singing no more. Stop it. That I will leave that for the Infinite Umbra to do. My singing days are long behind me. Voidlock, $2 super chat. He says there is a skill gap between Halo and Fallout. That's true. It also Fallout kind of eases you in, whereas Halo says get good right from the jump.
Right, and the caliber of actors in Fallout and in Last of Us are just on a completely different level than what you get in Halo. And that's no shade to what's his name, Shriver. And some of the other people, but Parangoski was great, and that other guy that they brought in,
Parangoski was a savior of this show. Ooh, she was good.
Oh, you saved that show. What are you talking about?
Hey, now cut the slander. Let's keep it moving.
Maybe that's why I'm partial to Halo, because you was in it. Okay.
So before we move off of the shows and all of that, did you hear? First off, do you watch The Witcher? Because I do, even though I know not a lot of people like it. Did you hear that they replaced Liam Hemsworth?
We heard that a while ago. Yeah.
Yes, and season 5 will be its last.
I mean, that's fine. I watched season 1 and 2. I haven't caught up on season 3. And I don't know if I care for a season 4 with Liam. So we'll see.
I wonder how they'll make that work, right? Because
I started watching season 3, and it just started off
very odd. Yeah,
you know those old WB shows. I was getting WB vibes. I was getting X11 vibes.
The budget has kind of gone downhill more and more. They start with a bang in season 1. They put the good stuff on display, and it looks like as the seasons have gone on, they've tightened the budget more and more and more. So it's not reflecting well in the material.
Yes, it's grown into a dating sim.
Yeah, that's true. There's a little bit. So I do see why, like, probably end it on a high. I wish they had.
If you wanted to end it on a high, you should have ended it after season 2. But whatever. Who am I?
Yeah, I'd say even give me season 3, because season 3 was okay, but changing the main protagonist, and then, like, I don't know, man. He has big shoes to fill, is all I'm saying. Liam Hemsworth does. So we shall see. But I thought that was an interesting note. All right, so let's move to some gaming stories, and then we'll talk about what we're here to talk about properly. So a few gaming stories. One being that, have you heard that some games are being disconnected from their online components? I tend to advocate for this stuff whenever it happens, just to remind people that you don't own your games. And in this case, it is Little Big Planet 3. PlayStation specifically is doing this. Little Big Planet 3, that caught my interest, and so did Gran Turismo Sport, also getting dropped, their online components of it, as well as games like the Show 19 and the Show 20. Now, of course, in the sports situation, they always have a new one that replaces the old one, but it's just, I don't know, man. It's notable. I don't know. Does it bother you, or you're just like, par for the course, let's keep it moving? Is this one of those things?
I genuinely don't care.
You're from the beginning, middle to end, disconnected gameplay. You tend to play those games that don't require that online connection, right?
Even though they keep trying to add them, but yes.
Right? Yeah, right?
Brought to you by not being able to pause, no rest for the wicked.
Exactly.
But was anyone still playing Little Big Planet? I haven't seen any clips online of Little Big Planet in a very long time. Who cares about MLB? Like, why are you still playing 2020 MLB?
Wow. See, now
4 years old.
Your slander is showing, sir.
But like, literally, games, no one's playing that. The whole point of those games is that they are like updated yearly. So like, doesn't really make sense for you to be playing 2020 or 2019 in the year of our Lord 2024. And I don't know what those other games are, but so what?
Yeah. As the great Ham Solo is saying, you play those games at your own risk. Absolutely. And I guess this is my PSA. Whenever I see these things, these are my PSA going, maybe you shouldn't be spending so much time and effort in those games, because the minute they pull the plug, there goes your investment, your time, your money, all of that stuff. I think it's kind of unfortunate. I may not play those games as much, right? But that's probably one of the big reasons why I don't play those games as much, because I know that they have you on a string and they can pull it at any time. It's unfortunate. But yes, I used to be a really big. I used to enjoy Little Big Planet like a lot with my kids. Used to play it all the time. So I think it's kind of sad that we live in a world where they can just pull that card whenever they want. But needless to say, I just wanted to bring that to the congregation. If you haven't played it, maybe try it out one last time, because it probably won't be available to you much longer. It's unfortunate. It is what it is. But okay, another quick note on the PlayStation side. Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut coming to PC. Sir, will you play this finally? I contend.
I might.
I contend that the house of bangers that PlayStation is, and everybody gives it credit, and I will give them credit for being the house of bangers. This is the biggest banger of them all. I love this game so much. I think it is so well done. If you're a movie watcher of any of the samurai stuff, this is so well done. So well done. So I know you didn't play it on PS5, and we'll talk to the people about why you have more options now and what options you have. But are we going to see some gameplay footage from you, sir? Are we going to see some clips?
I mean, it's like impossible to record gameplay on Steam, but we'll see.
That's not true at all. Every game you've seen, even No Rest for the Wicked, you saw gameplay from me, did you not? It came from Steam. What are you talking about? That's easy. You even have an NVIDIA card, so you can literally hit Control. What is it? The Alt F9 and your recording footage. That's it. But yes, I got this. It's on sale right now. Like, you can find it in places. If you are a PC gamer, like, it's out there. You don't have to pay full price for it. It is I think it's criminally slept on as far as big IPs. People hear God of War, people hear all these. I think Ghost of Tsushima is one of the best IPs they own so far, and I suspect that might catch fire when more people play it on PC. So, all right, let's get to one last story, which I thought was super interesting, and then we'll talk about your PC journey, sir, which is that currently Microsoft has more best-selling games on the PlayStation Store than Sony does. Did you hear this story, sir?
I did hear this story.
And it is permeating the zeitgeist. People are using it for console war fuel, and that may not be where I go with it here, but I just find it very notable because we've been talking about what their plan and their change of strategy has become, and the idea that they will turn competitors to partners, if you will. And it looks like right now that idea is moving full force. What do you think of this? Like, some of the games on this list are super interesting.
Yeah, I mean, this was bound to happen when they acquired ABK, right? So, like, what do we have on there? Call of Duty, ABK,
all the ones in green. So
right. Overwatch, ABK.
Overwatch, ABK.
Sea of Thieves is the interesting one
on the list,
right?
Which is number 12. Now that one's a genuine one because all the others you can say were purchased or this and that. Sea of Thieves, right?
Right. Fallout 4 and Fallout 76 are a little bit of a fluke because
Grounded.
Right. So yeah, Grounded is interesting. Sea of Thieves, super interesting. Minecraft, obvious. And then the Fallout games are happening because where Fallout is having a moment right now. So now the ones that are from Sony and Blue, they've got Helldivers, they've got MLB The Show, which is multi-platform. So Stellar Blade's interesting. So I mean, it's just that's what happens when you buy multi-platform publishers, right?
What is interesting to me is I don't see any Square titles on this list. I don't see the fodder that is used in these streets all the time about how and this game is amazing and Rebirth and all of it. It didn't even make the list, bro. It's kind of crazy. It didn't even make the list.
Well. What is this cover? What's the time period that this covers?
Let's see. Hold on. Let me go back. So,
or is this just point in time right now?
Yeah, it's the current reflections, like current, meaning not an amalgamation of a certain time period. This was as of the writing of this article, which was published on the 18th and updated. Like, so it's recent, it's current right now, right? So today, if you go check, these are the numbers, and it may have changed, fluctuated because it was written on the 18th or 2 days later, right? It fluctuates a little bit, but it's kind of interesting that the game that if you pay attention to them streets, which I do, right? I actually want to get Rebirth. I haven't finished playing Remake yet. I want to finish it on the PC. I was thinking of getting Rebirth, and people talking about how amazing Rebirth is and how beautiful it is, and I'm sure it is. It surprises me that it didn't make the list, like, at all.
I mean, it's a very specific kind of game, and it seems like the people that wanted it bought it on day one. And this is a regional list, so that he's probably looking in North America. Yep. I'm sure if you looked in Japan, it'd be a little bit different. But again, I'll just come back to it. When you're now the owner of Bethesda and Activision Blizzard King,
Paul being slanderous over here.
This is what was going to happen, especially on the heels of an amazing Fallout show. So that being said, this is the like whether we want to talk about like, oh, the brand is dead or this is dead, that's dead. This is exactly like what the goal was, and this is what they mean when they say they're going to publish their first party games on other things, and it's going to make them a lot of money. How far that extends, how far that logic extends, I get where people's minds go, especially in the light of them not being clear on what that means. But it could just mean this. It could mean,
well, but I think you do agree that with this information and with this news, Totoki and the rest of them are there with the Kurt Angle eyes, like right now.
No, but again, I don't know that they are, because look at the kind of games that are in that top 25. And unless we're talking about Helldivers, Sony doesn't really have that kind of game that may make sense, right? Because you know what's not on this list? Final Fantasy, right? Which is kind of like a Sony style game. And so will that even do well? Will Sony's first party single player non-long tail games have a benefit of being ported to these other platforms, right? Because look what's in this list. Apart from Stellar Blade,
which is $5.
Fallout 4 is $5, and it has a show out. There's an asterisk next to that. These are all service games.
Yes, they are.
And Sony has Destiny, which is already over there, and then Helldivers. Those other games, and again, MLB The Show already over there. So the kind of games that Sony makes or owns that are service games, but those are the ones that are already over there
or on the list. That's right. So right? I guess what the lessons to be learned here is, hey, and today is
so I say that to say
we have 420 people in the chat. Let's go with that.
Hey, and it's 420.
And it's 420 today. Yes.
Anyway, but so Helldivers is one that I could see Totoki taking note of.
So that's my point. The lessons that they may learn here is more Helldivers, less single player driven heavy.
Not necessarily, because again, these things aren't like, I know it's easier for us to understand, myself included, when we look at it in those binary ways. It doesn't have to be that, right? But I do think if they're gonna make a service game like a Helldivers, and they're seeing this list, and they're seeing how successful a Sea of Thieves can be, and they see the kind of game that Helldivers is, I could absolutely see that.
Lucius being really extra in this chat today. What's going on?
Don't mind if I do.
Well, okay, so let's move on, and I want to talk to you properly. And by the way, thanks to the 430 people that are in our chat right now and are watching live. Thank you guys for so much for being here.
I want to be very clear that I wasn't saying Sony owns Square. I'm saying that's a single player sort of RPG action adventure story driven thing. And so I'm just saying if you look at this list, these are service games. Final Fantasy is not a service game, and it could be that service games will make sense to put everywhere.
Hey,
that's all I'm saying.
Rise of the Ronin also on the list. You know, that is a single player game, beginning, middle, and end. So
is this top played?
Exclusive. I think it's top purchased.
Okay.
I think it's top purchased. But yes, JD Gamer, $5 super chat. He says, question: Has the Final Fantasy brand been damaged beyond repair by these PlayStation deals and such? And gamers have changed how and where they play. And I'll add a caveat to that. Has Final Fantasy gone the way of the boomer shooter that's only meant for a subset of our audience? What do you think?
Hold on. Jerron Worthy says we missed the super chat.
Oh, did we? I definitely. Oh, I apologize, Jerron. I will make sure I get that. I will get that. Answer the question first, Mr. Everborn Tiger.
Best
has Final Fantasy has Final Fantasy's brand been damaged beyond repair by these PlayStation deals and such, and will have gamers changed how and where they play games? AKA, have they gone the way of the boomer shooter that only adheres to a subset of their audience? What do you think?
I mean, there's several things, right? I think that Final Fantasy, the way it's being made, is potentially becoming okay. Let me put it in a different way, because I was going to say it's becoming long in the tooth, but that's not really the case. Like it has a target audience. And they've always leaned it towards a more casual RPG person. And you can see that like with Final Fantasy 16. And so what I'm saying is the kind of game that Final Fantasy has become, I don't think it's as hardcore an RPG as say Baldur's Gate 3. I don't think it's as hardcore as an RPG as the ones that are really hitting it off these days. And so it's somewhere in between action and these things. And so I think they could be limiting their audience with the
weird deals and whatnot.
Right. That's one. And then you're already talking to a more limited audience these days because those tastes have shifted, right? And if you look at people who are, and we'll see how these goes, but like some people will tell you Persona is kind of taking that JRPG king status.
True, yeah.
And so, I think there's a lot of things going on. The exclusivity is part of it, but I do think the exclusivity does have a lot of negative energy around it. And it becomes a political football in the discourse. And I do think there are like still a significant number of fans on those other platforms. At the very least, I think like PC day and date should have been a thing that they focused into their development pipeline. But they're staggering the release, but they're going to have one marketing budget or minimal marketing budget for subsequent platforms. Is that hurting them? I mean, I don't know. How the sales doing?
Yeah, it is interesting. We shall see. And of course, Jerron Worthy, thank you so much for being here. Sorry I missed your chat. I wasn't even planning on missing your chat because your question dovetails perfectly into the conversation we're about to have.
And shout out to L. Paul for becoming a new member.
Exactly. And L. Paul is a member as well. Thank you guys so much for the continued support.
And his name's already in the list.
It is on the list. That's right. Jerron asked the question, best pre-built PC to buy is helping me out, guys. So we're going to talk about that.
Well, Jerron, can you put in the chat what your budget is, and then we can go from there?
Give us a budget. Give us a situation. Meaning, like, are you planning on playing in an office, in front of a PC, in front of a monitor? Do you want to put it in the living room? Those, your budget, obviously. Those will all determine where we point you towards. But while you give us that, and I'll keep an eye on that from you in the chat, I will let Mr. Everborn Saga regale us with some stories.
Well, no, we will get there because I want that to be a whole thing. We're gonna have a conversation about, but he's giving us a budget, 3,500.
He's giving it. Okay, so give me some time, and we'll get that. We'll get that going. I will throw it in the chat when we get there. So yes.
All right, and I wanna answer. Omen Steve O plays games. He says, "Dude, don't buy a pre-built." Okay. So I need to understand why that's being said. Because there's many ways to go about being a pre-built. Now, if you say you want a system integrator versus an OEM pre-built, then we can have that conversation, right? I get it when you say you don't want an OEM pre-built because they're going to put their own parts in this thing, and you don't really want a Dell motherboard, or you don't want
says HP, the man who has learned the hard way.
Right. So I get that. But if you're talking about a system integrator pre-built PC, that just means you are picking off the shelf parts as though you built it yourself,
and they're putting it together for you. Yes.
Right. And you can absolutely get a pre-built from a system integrator with off-the-shelf parts. Because your only reason for saying you should build it yourself, other than you want some kind of like achievement points, is that you have the time, right? So for me,
I will push back on a little bit. You do save money when you do it yourself versus having a service, because there's always a layer on top that they
right. But again, are you saving money though? Right. Like, so let me explain myself. Time is the true the true currency, right? So if you were to go right now,
you have the funds, but continue. Time is the true currency.
He has $3,500. He has the funds, right? Let's stop that, right?
Okay.
Now, having a PC built for you where you pick the parts, which you can do at like an NZXT or Starforge or whatever, they're going to charge you a $250 markup, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, you're going to take a day to build that PC. I don't know about you guys, but my time is worth more than $250. Right? And, you know, there's this weird thing of poo-pooing on people who did pre-built. I'm not saying go get an OEM pre-built with bad parts. I'm saying if you don't have time or the inclination to do that, don't let anybody shame you. You just happen to spit. Listen, when I go to Six Flags with the kids, you can go wait on the back of the line. I paid extra for the tickets so I can go on the express line. Right. So
now I will tell this,
and it's not way cheaper.
No
it's like $100 to $200.
It is. No.
That's not way cheaper.
You are mistaken, sir. It is way cheaper. It just tends that sometimes you get a good
wait a
deal.
minute. Okay, wait a minute. What I want you to hold on a minute, right? We just did this exercise. I asked you and I asked Slow-Mo to send me the same parts that were in my PC. There was a $200 difference.
But this is your specific scenario right now. Most of the time, that's not the case. That's not how it always works. Okay, I have owned many PCs in my life. More often than not, it is considerably cheaper. Whether it be
how much is way cheaper?
Let me explain. Let me explain. Because sometimes you have to buy a part from this location. You have to buy a part from that location. If you do a pre-built like what you're describing, you are susceptible to what they have available there, and that's it, right? And in your scenario, you were lucky and able to get all the parts you needed in one location. That is more often than not the case, right? You deal with what they give you, and by and large, if it's Newegg or any place like that, they will upsell one thing over another thing because they have other margins they need to meet. So if it's like back in the day when you used to build your own stereo system. If you build the speakers are from Sony and the subwoofers from someplace else, and you tend to get what you want in a better way that way. But if you go to just one location and say, hey, build this for me, yes, you'll get a deal. Yes, it won't be that bad, but you will end up spending more than if you put those pieces together yourself. Now, to mitigate that, you could buy from all the various locations, do your own research, and then go to a building company and have them put that together for you. That's an option. But like in your example, right, Everborn, and the no shade at all, you did exactly the way it was supposed to be done, and it's all good. But had you like diversified where you'd buy your stuff, you could have bought exactly the same machine for a few $100s cheaper, in addition to the cost of putting it together. It's the fact that, hey, you want to buy this pre-built, you have to buy it here at Micro Center or here at Newegg or wherever they choose to send you. They put good parts and parts that could be cheaper elsewhere in the mix, and you have no choice in the matter. That's what tends to be the situation in that.
Okay,
but it's not to say that it's like $1,000 cheaper. I'm not saying
is push people against getting into PC.
No, but
people out here like you got to build it.
Listen. You are basically being susceptible to the people that have been giving you shade all this time.
Also, this is not to Omen Steve O plays, right?
Yes.
He's not trying to shame.
He was
specifically
absolutely
talking about OEM. So this is not for you. I'm having a broader conversation.
This is Everborn Saga sick and tired of people slapping him around for his pre-built.
It is not. It is not, right? Like, listen, there are things. My first car, right? I had to get it. I didn't have the money. I had to literally buy the car with no transmission, find a transmission from a junkyard that worked, and put it in myself. That's what I had to do, right? Sure. I still have friends that work on cars. I don't do that anymore. Yeah. Right.
Well, but this is your situation. Your situation, which okay, there's no shade on that.
We have someone. we have someone who has a $3,500 budget.
Yes.
Right.
But what I'm saying to you is, just because he has a $3,500 budget does not mean that he can't eke out more if he were to diversify his locations of purchase and all of that. Right. And again, this is not me dissing pre-built. I'm not. I would advocate against your Dell or anything like that, because they'll put in proprietary motherboards and things, and that's not good. I agree with you on that, right? This is not me saying that. What I'm saying is, just because he has $3,500, he could put more of that into his RAM. He could put more of that into certain components if he were to diversify his portfolio a little bit. Saying that because he's got $3,500 means he can just get a pre-built, you will lose some of that $3,500.
But he's specifically asking for a pre-built.
Yes. No, and even in that realm, you can get a pre-built that will save you more money. Just don't get it all from one location. Like, the ideal scenario for a pre-built is you source your own parts, and then you go to a place and have them build it.
In sourcing my own parts, I found that there was a $200 difference for the same parts from different places. You sourced your own parts and then went to one place to have them all build it. Like, you purchased all the parts from one place. That's where you lose. No. I didn't do that. They was already built. What I'm saying is, I went to two different sources, which is you. You literally picked the parts out.
Sure.
I went to Slow-Mo, another PC guy I trust. Picks the parts
and then
out.
You bought it all at the Micro Center, right?
Right. You both came back with quotes that were within $200 of my build. And so instead of buying it from all those places, I said, I'm not going to waste my time. I'm going to spend the extra $200 where I have all those same parts. Western Digital Black, 2 terabyte SSD, right? MSI 790 motherboard.
And by the way,
right?
Real quick, by the way, a lot of those parts now have been like it's homogenized a lot. So there are the options that used to be really broad, and there are some broad options out there. As Flood is saying, not everything is Micro Center or Newegg, right? There are some broad options still out there, but by and large, the cream that's at the top tends to be a select few, and those are found in those places. Right. So most people can just go there.
I am not saying don't build your PC. The difference is people are saying don't do pre-build.
Don't shame the pre-build.
Right? Yes, you can save $100 or $200 or whatever, couple of $100 here and there if you do all that work, right? To me, the time is more important, and I'm not taking more. Right?
Just because you saved it doesn't mean that that's all there is. It can be more than just $200.
I said a couple of hundred. It could be that some n number of hundreds. Right?
Yes.
In my case, it was 200, and I have everything top of the line. Right?
Exactly.
Now, again,
let's
some people. Well, hold on a minute. Some people that can dissuade them. Right, and this is what you PC dudes keep doing. That dissuade people.
You can't say that no more.
No, because again, I'm trying to speak for my fellow troglodytes. Right?
Oh boy,
PC dudes will do this. You will say, "Oh, come to PC. It's not as bad. It's not drivers. It's not these configurations. It's not what it used to be." And then as soon as someone goes and do that, "Oh, don't do it this way. Do all these customizations. Do all those things." And all I am saying is, if you are comfortable with a pre-built, get that pre-built. It will cost you a couple extra $100, but it won't be no stress. Don't let nobody tell you, "Well, you're going to save a lot of money. You're going to have a lot more performance." Hold on a minute. Let the people get in, let them feel comfortable, and let them come to their comfortable level of customization on their own. I'm saying you are going to push people away by talking like that. That's all I'm saying.
I don't disagree with you. I don't disagree with you. But see, that is people shaming people for not doing it. That's the get good energy. And I'm not about that. I never was about that. So you won't hear me say that. You'll hear me advocate against. You
kind of did a little bit, but I understand. I understand what you're saying.
Where did I do that? I did that to you when we found out that your motherboard was a very weird amalgamation of what Dell decided to give you. That's a different conversation.
Listen, I learned that the hard way, but that's a different story from 2020. I'm talking about right now. I don't think it is helpful to someone who is talking about considering a pre-built to say, "Oh, you're gonna save a lot of money," or "Don't do it." Right? I'm just saying those words.
But you didn't let me say it. You're putting words in my mouth. I didn't say that. I said, because you are flippantly saying, "Oh, it's only." Let me finish. You're flippantly saying it's only $200 difference, and I'm saying that is not always the case, right? You took advice from me, from Slow-Mo. You had a deal with Micro Center that worked out. It doesn't always work that way. So while I will not say don't get a pre-built, because I agree that pre-builts can save you a lot of money. During COVID, I bought a pre-built, right? But what I'm saying is do your own independent research, and sometimes purchase those components individually and then get a company to pre-build it for you, and you save and you maximize your purchase. Well, no, you will save as much money as possible then. That's where your $200 markup is usually where it will be, because then all they're paying for is the service of building it for you. If you go to a company and say, okay, your generic company, here, I want this, build it for me. They tend to add RAM that you're not aware of that may be less than. They tend to add components that may not be popular, but because you're unaware, they'll slip that in because, oh, you're not paying attention to that. So if you source your own parts and just pay them for the building, then you maximize the components and you save as much money as possible. That's all I'm saying, right? I'm not saying don't buy pre-built, that you have to figure out how to install your own components. No, not everybody can do that. Absolutely. But in the world of PC where everybody wants to jump in, right? Sometimes it's worth investigating in your own components first and then letting someone else build it for you, which is fine. That's all I'm saying. But anyway, okay. We're burying the lead.
All fine.
I want you to tell people where you started.
Okay. So I have been mulling this over for quite some time because we have been talking about on this channel for a very long time listen, I'm a console troglodyte, right? I have no shame in it, right? I'm allergic to gaming in my office. It needs to be in the bedroom or in the living room. Right. It's like sex. No. So the thing is, I have been on board and advocating that that Xbox transition into an OS, right? Because I think, they own the platform where most of PC gaming takes place. PC gaming has grown to a crazy rate, a crazy portion of the gaming industry. It has up until recently seen higher growth than the console space, and number of users, it's much higher, but revenue is still higher on the console space because, pay pigs. But the other significant thing that has come around, why I've come to this, is once the consoles moved away from custom SoCs over to basically off-the-shelf x86 parts, at that point, we've seen this sort of convergence of every third-party game that is on console is now also on PC, right? And we've then seen Microsoft make the transition to publish all their games on PC, let alone day and date on PC. We are seeing Sony dip their toes into that water, and all of their major IPs have been on some sort of a delay, but have come to PC. So that is the place where all these games were, and what was holding me back was the user interface and the complexity, and I didn't want to tinker in those things. And so I thought that the savior in this space would be Xbox, and that they would come with a UI because they own Windows. And I know there were things like Play Night, but I had never tried it. But it was still, everything I heard about it is that it's kind of janky, right? And then the Steam Deck happened, right? Which, for all intents and purposes, is a PC, and it's literally a PC when you go into desktop mode, and then you can come back into a gaming mode, and you're playing PC games with a full console experience. And I said, this is where it's at, right? I'm playing Final Fantasy VII right now, remake, on the Steam Deck. All those games that people are upset about not coming to the Xbox, they were right there on the Steam Deck. But there's a problem that I don't get the benefit of Game Pass. I don't get the benefit of syncing my library. I don't get those things. And so there's still a disconnect from when I want to play, the times when I want to play on the TV. But I noticed that 80-90% of my game time was on the Steam Deck. And I started to think, I can live this way, right? If most of my gaming is happening on the Steam Deck, these are PC games, but it has a user experience that I am used to.
Mm-hmm.
Wait a minute. And so I had been talking to you about this, and I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna do this thing. But before there, I got the Rog Ally, right? Mm-hmm, and I was singing the Rog Ally's praise because it was a way for me to play Game Pass on the go, but I just couldn't deal with that disgusting user experience. And so when Steam Deck OLED came out, I went back. Damn, it's terrible. But the point is, my Rog Ally has been collecting dust, and all of my playtime was going towards the Steam Deck. And so then I said, I saw a Play Night video. I know you had did one a while back, but then I some YouTube algorithm gods put something across my suggested video feed, and I saw someone using this on a Rog Ally, and I said, I'm going to put this on the Rog Ally. Mm-hmm. And I started using it, and it was janky as suspected, but I thought,
it's like you, right? It's your use case. You make it. Yeah. You traverse the janky divide with time.
I see what you're doing, Floodzilla. It's running Linux. I'll give you that, but it's playing Windows games. Don't you ever forget that.
Yeah, that's right.
But I went down that rabbit hole, so to speak. And I said, wait a minute, this is a UI. And then something happened. I tried big picture mode on the Rog Ally, and then I saw these things that said, hey, you can literally turn off the desktop. And I was using my Rog Ally as a Steam Deck. And I said, wait a minute, this is a PC. And I did go back to the Steam Deck because the battery life is terrible on the Rog Ally. But I went back to the Steam Deck, but it made me think big picture mode is actually amazing. And it has integration with the Xbox button, so you can press that and the menu will come up, and it can shut down the PC and restart the PC and go to suspend, and you can do that and use it like it's a native Steam Deck. So I said, wait a minute.
Digital receipts, ladies and gentlemen. Who said this first?
And
the virtual tomatoes were thrown at me. Who said this first?
Wait a goddamn minute.
Yeah.
I can run this on a PC. Why am I running it on the not so good Rog Ally? Why don't I take this thing to the next level? So I start calling up you. I start calling up Slow Mo, and I'm like, you know, what kind of PC am I gonna get? I'm gonna build one. And the first thing you said was, don't get another damn Alienware. So
no, don't do it.
And so I didn't get an Alienware, although I will say the Alienware,
it would have served your purpose. It would have served your purpose.
It would have, because I'm not tweaking anything, but the Alienware was actually $400 cheaper. So all of that money, that extra money I paid, but then you're using their proprietary memory and motherboard. And
but that's another reason why it's $400 cheaper, because they subsidize the cost a little, knowing that they'd get you. Anytime you need anything, they got you.
You can't change the case, right? Because if you do, it's a whole thing, and you can't get another video card unless you buy it from them. Which
Alienwares are the console subsidization of the PC world. You know,
it is, but they don't have that UI until
no, they don't. No, they don't.
Right.
Yes.
So again, you if you go OEM, you're not going to be able to choose your off-the-shelf parts. That's why I say go a system integrator, a system builder, because that way you can just pick the off-the-shelf parts. You have forwards compatibility. If you don't want to change the whole thing like you got to do, or be forced to buy from them forever, you can change it on your own that way. So again, pre-built wise, make sure you get a system integrated, not an OEM, because you're going to be locked into that OEM.
Maybe use PC part picker. Make sure that each component, because even if you don't know exactly what you're looking for, Like websites like PC Part Picker are free. They'll literally tell you the parts you're looking for, and it'll give you a clue as to what you should be looking for. As far as like building a PC, real quick, building a PC is like not spending enough time on leg day, right? You don't want to have this crazy monster of a PC and then your CPU is lacking or your RAM is lacking, because there will be bottlenecks places. And if you
your motherboard can't take the fastest memory,
take different RAM. Exactly. If you don't know any better and you just go to a PC pre-builder and they say, hey, give me one, they will, but you may be susceptible to those things. That's the only reason why I'm like, do a little bit of the research.
Right. I 1000%. I'm a big fan of pre-built, but you do that research, and that way you know if they're,
you know what you get. That's right.
You know if they're if you're getting played or not, right? Exactly. Go source the parts, see what's in it, see how much it would cost, and see how much it's costing them to build you that. And once you know what the parts are, then you can go and say
every part can be purchased independently. You should be able to do that. If you can't buy the part independently, you don't want it in your system.
Right. But this is the thing. When you do that, now you're going to exactly see what their markup is, and then you can say whether it's worth it or not. So anyway, so that's where we were. I got the PC. Now, this is where the part gets fun. This is the fun part of the discussion. So my entire goal of this thing was, again, I said I'm going to get a PC. I'm not going to game in my office. This is not in my office. This is
Tim the Sorcerer. Sir, you are 100% right. I have actually got my kids to play this PC Build Simulator. It's a game, but it will teach you to build the PC. It's really fun. They give it away all the time. I'm sorry. Continue. Very good source. People should play it. So,
by the way, how's that for giving a super chat some time? By the way, the pre-built discussion,
right? This is why I held
I know
off.
we didn't get to it.
I knew it was going to turn into this.
I hope the discussion was worth the wait.
Yes,
okay, so anyway, my entire this PC is literally connected to the bedroom, because that's where I do most of my gaming. It's connected to the LG CX. It's a 55 inch because it's for the bedroom. Sorry, Hargeet, if you're listening. Hargeet put 77 inches in the bedroom.
In what world did a 55 inch screen TV become small for the bedroom? Like, I just gotta stop.
That's what Hargeet said.
Anyway. just because he's slapping you because of the show my build wallet money, now all of a sudden you got to be all like, oh, it's too small. Like, stop that.
Anyway, so the other thing that I need to note is that because this PC was specifically going in the bedroom, I had to get the RFQ signed from the missus, right?
Yes.
So
my corporate brothers know what I'm talking about.
So I had to make sure she was okay. And so, Kay, you and I had the discussion. Listen, the 5090 is going to be coming out soon. Why don't you just wait for that? And I was like, yeah, that's probably the best thing to do. But then she was like, all right, we could do the PC in the bedroom. And I was like, I need to strike while the iron is hot, because she might change her mind on this thing.
The budget might change in 2025. We gotta use the purchase before 2025, because then we'll have to realign the budgetaries. So you better go purchase quickly. I understand.
Right. So I'm like, you know what? She's cool with it. I'm getting this. We're gonna go with the 4090. She doesn't like it either. She's giving me dirty looks every time the RGB lights come on. But I'm like, look, I put a new nice shelf in here.
I did. I warned you about that. The RGBs get a little crazy.
But she won't say anything, because I'm like, you said you was cool. You can't complain now.
The request. Here's the RFC. I see it. You see? Here's your signature right here.
No, I'm not turning off the RGB. But I'm not. How about that? Because it's not on when the PC's asleep, so it's on when the TV's on. So who cares if you got RBG on while the TV's actually on? I'm just saying.
Okay. All
right,
keep going.
So I had to make sure it looked kind of aesthetically nice. I had to go to Bob's and go to the pit and find because I built a shelf for it, and she's like, "This looks terrible." So I went to Bob's to get like an end table, turned it to the side so that it would match with the dresser that's under the TV, so that it could sit on it and it feels like it's a whole part of the thing. So anyway, did that, whatever. Now, the entire goal of this device, as I was saying, was for it to function like a console, right?
Yep.
The only thing that will happen on this, we didn't talk about specs. I guess we should talk about specs. Do you want to do that first, or talk about the? Okay, we'll do specs.
No, go for it. Go for it. Yeah. Rattle off specs there, my PC brethren. Go ahead.
All right. So, Intel i9 14900 KF, MSI 790 motherboard, 64 gigs DDR5,
highly unnecessary, but
G-Skill DDR5 5600 megahertz, 64 gigs, 2 terabyte Western Digital Black SSD, Lian Li case. I believe they made this a power supply also. Power supply is gold rated, 1000 watts. Gigabyte variant of the RTX 4090. And I have an extra 1 terabyte Western Digital Black sitting around that I never put in the PS5 because for what? So I'm going to put that in later. But that's sort of where we are.
Well, hold on a moment before you continue, and I will let you continue. I must advocate for something. I must put a pause and speak on something, right? Because like folks in the chat were also saying it, and I kind of agree with that, right? Do not take Everborn Saga's jump into these waters, the deep end of the pool, as the reference design, because he is Mr. Everborn Frivolous Purchase for a reason. He has 64 gigs of RAM on a gaming PC. He will never use more than 17, 18 gigs max. Do not. When I speak to people, and there's nothing wrong with doing what your wallet allows. I'm not wallet shaming at all. But when I speak to people who are into the early bowels of the PC world, and they're like, oh, I don't know what I want to do. What I advocate for is a half step. And what do I mean by a half step? I mean something like this. This is a mini PC, right? And by and large, they come with processors that are comparable to something like ROG Ally or any of the 7840Us out there. The difference is it's not exactly a 7840U, because those 7840Us are spec'd for battery life, right? So they go up and down to make sure you get the best battery life possible. When they put them in here, they spec them for plugging into a wall. So they can perform far better than a standard 7840U. They're usually the HS, so 7840HS rather than 7840U. Needless to say, there is no sourcing parts. There is no, what's going to go in here? You just put your SSD in the thing. It usually comes with Windows 11. You can switch it to Linux if you have the capability of doing so. And by and large, like a console, you're not getting 4K. But let me tell you, even myself and Mr. Everborn Saga here, who are part of the 4090 and all of that, we're not getting 4K. We're getting really good 4K because of upscaling, which you will also be able to do with something like this. And this will cost you unsubsidized $700-800, depending on 16, 32, 64 gigs of RAM. It usually comes with a good AMD variant of processor that is in all of these other devices. Something like this can really do what Mr. Everborn Saga is looking for. Now, of course, this is Mr. Everborn Saga we're talking about, so it is what it is. But you don't need to jump into the $3,000, $4,000 waters to benefit from what he's going to benefit from, which is freedom and not locked down to his profile, right? He can have anything he wants to do. If the machine can't run it, he can go into the background if he so chooses and change some bells and whistles and make it run for him. You can do that with this as well. I'm sorry. Continue, Mr. Everborn Saga.
Okay. So, so we talked about specs. We went over the memory, we went over the storage, we went over the GPU, CPU. Okay. So all of that cost me $4,000. So $3,999. When we sourced the same parts, it came out to about, so basically $4,000, like $3,999, right? When we sourced the same parts, it worked out to $3,800.
Mm-hmm.
So there's basically a $200 markup than what I could have bought the parts,
which is a decent price, no doubt, right? It doesn't always work that way. It depends on when you buy. You know, sometimes when data miners are out there, the GPU price goes to $2,500 out of nowhere versus the $1,800 where it should be. You know, things like that. So you benefited, which is everything. Good for you. Yes, timing is indeed everything.
So now on to the software experience, because again, this is entirely about this replacing my consoles, right? Can it be done? And again, the Steam Deck tells me yes. Mm-hmm. And my experience with the Rog Ally and different launchers tells me yes, and it can be done in Windows, right? Because originally we talked about this. I was going to build a Steam box and put Chimera OS on it.
So the reason why you'd want to build it the way you built it is because that's why you want the big dog machine, because Windows has a lot of cruft, if you will, stuff that you don't need for a gaming console / handheld. Right, for a gaming machine. But if you have a 64 gig beast with all these bells and whistles, even those Prince poolers running in the background won't stop your game from running. Now, if you were to go mini PC route or something smaller where you have to eke out all the performance, then it is better to go the Linux route, because Linux can be a lot more optimized in background processes than Windows can. But yes, continue.
Oh man, I didn't mean to do that. It's JD Gamer.
Hold on. JD Gamer says, K Asante, I was all in, ready to ask you what I should do to get now, and now I'm shamed out of buying a PC by Everborn money bags. You see, this is my point. This wedding plan is hampering my wallet. You see, this is my point. You don't have to do what Mr. Frivolous Purchase Saga did. You can this is half step. This is a half step and why do I say this is a half step? Because you're not getting all the frames with something like this. You're not. But what you're also not getting is some developer saying this should be 30 frames locked. No, you can tweak this up and down to your heart's content. You can find it to maybe 40 frames. And if you have a VRR TV, now you're running it like butter and you don't even notice. This can do that, just like handhelds can. Right? So when you're ready and you want to go all in, be Mr. Everborn Saga. Go save your dollary dues, as they say, and buy a pretty monster beast if you're comfortable in those waters. But if you're not, and you're a console person generally, a mini PC is a very good investment.
Honestly, I would probably do what Lucius Augustus says and start with a Steam Deck. Right? That will tell you if you can, because that's what it was. Listen, the Steam Deck was a gateway drug for this whole thing to me.
But this is exactly a Steam Deck. That's what this is. It's basically a Steam Deck without a screen, all the specs in this can be found in a Steam Deck. It's the same SoCs, same thing. It's just if you are a set-top box person and you're not handheld, because I know a lot of people go, I don't want a handheld. I don't game on the go. You don't need to game on the go in order to get a Steam Deck. This is literally a Steam Deck repurposed in a box that you put under your TV. It's got your HDMI cables. It'll connect to your Xbox controller, your PlayStation controller. It'll do everything you need to do. It is a Steam Deck for all intents and purposes. And you can get ones with higher specs than a Steam Deck in it as well.
Okay. So now I got the PC. I set it up. Where it looks nice in the room. Now we get everything started, and there were certain requirements that I had, right? And my requirements were, this is going to be used as a console on a TV, so there is nothing installed on it. I mean, we're not running Outlook when the PC starts. We're not starting where there's no Office installed on this thing. This is a sole single purpose.
Claw it back a little bit more, couldn't you? Like right now, you just ran it default Windows, and then you put your Steam on top with big picture mode. You could technically go into services and even claw further back and stop print spoolers and stop all these other extra stuff.
They do, yes, that's true. They do some of that for you when you just say what this PC is going to be used for.
Sure.
If you say gaming, they turn off a lot of that stuff, but they don't get everything. So you can go. But again, because I'm dealing with so much overhead, that hasn't really.
You don't
been
have to worry about it. That's right. That's right. Yeah. No.
But the point is, the only software installed on this PC is the Xbox app because it's Xbox and Steam. And so then the next thing I did was make sure nothing is running at startup. I mean, nothing at all. There's no teams running, none of that stuff that comes. None of that stuff that comes with Windows. So I just turned all of that off at startup, and the only application that runs at startup is Steam. And I set Steam to launch in big picture mode, and I turned on the extended features of the Xbox controller, and I've taken over the Xbox button. And so when you do that, if you are in a game or you are in another app, no matter what you're doing, if you press the Xbox button, it'll bring up the Steam overlay. So if you're playing a game that you launched in Steam, it'll allow you to quit that game or change your control stuff and manage that game there. If you're just in a web browser because you're doing something and you want to get back to Steam, press the Xbox button. You're right back there. So it has that simple. It basically acts as a home.
By the way, for you, Miss Everborn Saga, if you ever choose, because I know you've had some questions as far as how do you capture footage and this is that and stuff like that, you could always get like a custom controller, basically a 360 Xbox controller, and they have like programmable buttons. Make this one the screenshot button. Make this video record button. You hit it and it's
wait a minute. Wait a minute. I also need to add, right? Because there's been updates. This is another thing that made this comfortable for me. I know you could get big picture mode on your PC for a long time, but it was only a few months ago that it was out of beta and in the standard version, so I could feel comfortable that I won't run into any issues. So pressing the capture button on my Xbox controller captures a picture and saves it to the library in Steam.
There you go. Yes.
If I hold the capture button, then it'll start recording. It won't get the last 30 seconds. It'll start recording going forward.
Although I would advocate that you don't do that because the Windows built-in capture stuff is garbage compared to your 4090's NVIDIA software. That will capture it at the beautiful full frame. The Windows one will dumb it down to very low bit rates and stuff. So just an option. You have options.
100%. So there is that, right? So now the other thing is, so that's the thing. I only want to interact with this thing with the controller. So then I downloaded something. I said, well, this is Steam. This is big picture mode. This is great. I did not realize how good it was. But hey, where are my Xbox games? So, because it's a PC. I need those. I need my Game Pass stuff. So I downloaded a tool called UWP Hook. What this does is it will take your Game Pass games or your just Xbox PC games that you have entitlements for, and it will allow you to import them into Steam with the artwork and everything. So now I'm launching all of my Xbox games and my Steam games right from big picture mode. The goal here is never to see the desktop. So I then went and got something called EmuDeck. Now, there are other ways to do this, right? You can use Big Box. I use EmuDeck. EmuDeck allows you to literally turn off the Windows shell. So in
other words, you boot it up. Usually in normal Windows parlance, you boot it up. It boots up, it finds your authentication, and then it loads the Windows desktop. That's a shell, is what that's called.
Right.
So what these do is they do shell replacements, and they'll basically boot it up after authentication, where you can turn off authentication so it doesn't ask you for a password. And then instead of loading the desktop, it'll load whatever app you want, a la the front end that you choose.
Right.
So there is no desktop to load behind. It just loads straight into that app.
Right. So if you're familiar with the Steam Deck, it's that UI on your TV, and you can turn off the Windows shell. You literally never have to see it. And so I did that. I'm running in big picture mode. I have the integration with the Xbox controller for captures and coming back to the home screen. I turned off the lock screen because, again, there's nothing on this PC but gaming, and the PC does not have access to the rest of the network in the house. I know some network admins in the chat are going to go crazy over that. But it's primarily used for gaming. And so and when I start the PC, it does the whole startup animation, and then I
Which, by the way, Everborn, you could even change that. Those are
I did. I have it random. I have like 4 different ones that I picked.
No, so but I mean Windows PC, like, you know, the starting Windows, you can change that to become whatever. You can make it the Everborn Saga logo that starts up when your PC boots and then goes into, you know, those are some customization. Yes.
So I keep it in sleep mode because I want to wake it up when I turn on the controller, so I don't shut down. And it's pretty good. Fans aren't running. It isn't doing things when it's shut down. But what I have not been able. Oh, another thing. This is super important. I got it basically looks, it's the size of a controller, but it's a keyboard and trackpad. So if I ever need to enter any kind of text or want to, basically, yes, that's exactly what I have.
This is what I use. I've used it for years. Yes.
So I use that as my keyboard and mouse for the times where I need it, but I don't really need it unless I want to. So the other thing that you're going to say is, well, what about the updates? What I have done is I've used, because you know you can add non-Steam games. So I've added the apps that I might need, like the Edge browser and the GeForce Experience, to as non-Steam games, so I can launch those directly from the UI with the controller, and I can do my updates in that way. So this thing is, and I want to recap, right? There's 2 pieces that I haven't solved yet.
One of the solutions I have for you,
if you think that this is a PS5 Pro, sir, then Sony has trained you well.
Oh man.
So here's the thing. The 2 things I haven't gotten to work yet is when the PC wakes up, it doesn't switch the HDMI, which the other devices do, but there's a solution for that I'm working on. So what about Windows updates? I set it to auto update. But I'm not in any fast rings, so I'm basically on the slowest update pattern.
You could configure it, and yes, it requires tweaking. You could configure it so that it does updates at like 4 a.m.
That's exactly what I'm doing. I'm doing that, and it's on auto, so it will happen overnight, and I'm not like going into Windows update. So yes, I'm doing the same thing, updating it late at night when I know I wouldn't be.
And then it shuts itself down when it's done. You know,
It doesn't need the Windows shell. The Windows shell is just for you to interact with it.
That's right. You can still do all that stuff in the background as long as you've configured it to do it by itself. You never even need to go into the Windows shell. It's for you to click buttons if you need it.
But I do want to say this though. After turning off the Windows shell for a few days, I noticed that there were some quirks with big picture mode, where like some like selecting things wouldn't highlight. And again, this is random. It's not like it breaks it, but sometimes things don't work. And I think
that's the thing that we can solve for you as well. There is a setting in Windows that lets one app be always in the front. And I think you haven't set that. So sometimes there are apps behind other apps. And since there's no desktop, it doesn't really know how to grok that. As long as you set the Steam/Big Picture as always the app in front, even if there's another behind it, you'll never experience that.
Right. So I ended up turning the Windows shell back on, but I need you to believe me when I tell you, big picture mode is so good, and that Xbox mode is so good. I do not ever see the desktop except for those few seconds when I do a restart of the PC, which I really don't do. Right? Because I wake it up, and when you wake it up, you don't see the desktop. So I'm staying within there, and there's nothing. I have to manually minimize big picture mode because it takes up the whole thing. Obviously, I set the taskbar to hide, so I have. And I knew
Lucius was going to come for you with this one. That sounds like a lot of tweaking and twerking there, my guy.
Absolutely. But what I want to talk about is this end state, right? So while not you guys, but while some people are on the timeline arguing about why does Final Fantasy have Vaseline textures, and why is Hellblade 30 frames a second? I'm not really thinking about that. And
so what you're saying is on this show, PCMR, the MR parts stops missionary gamers from ranting.
Oh, I'm gonna rant. Let's be very clear. You can never stop
missionary anymore, though. This is not missionary anymore.
Well,
you have diversified your portfolio, sir.
I mean, I don't know. I think I just got into a new relationship, a new monogamous relationship.
Keep going.
But the thing is, so for me, this is about the reason I didn't want to go to PC in the past is because I didn't want to game in the office. So that's solved by putting the PC in the bedroom. But I also didn't want to deal with the mouse and keyboard and the UI. I want to use this thing with a controller. I don't want to think about it. And after these setups, this thing is functioning like the console does. It's faster, it's better, and it works complete with a controller. Now, I will say, there's an opportunity here for Microsoft to save us all from the tweaking and twerking, as Lucius Augustus says, because this did take me a weekend worth of setup.
What you're looking at is the Steam Big Picture mode that he has been exalting. This is my Steam Big Picture mode, but continue. Yes.
Right. So this, and again, this is the UI, right? You press the Xbox button, you get the side menu. Can you do that? Are you doing this now? Or see, that's what happens when you press the Xbox button, right? You can control it. So this is the thing. You can have your entire library, including your Game Pass games, right here in this TV-friendly, controller-friendly UI.
I'm using my controller. That's it. You just
right. And you can hide the desktop if you so choose. But I think Big Picture mode is so good that you won't need to. You will only see it for the few seconds after you restart the PC. And so this is the thing. And so every game comes here, right? I'm hearing people talk about, why isn't No Rest for the Wicked early access on Xbox? Don't matter to me. I'm playing it on the TV with the controller, not in my office.
Yep.
Right.
It's one box to rule them all, as a fuzzy.
Right. And that's another thing. While people are arguing about like exclusivity deals, this exclusivity deals that, everything comes to PC.
Now you see that meme with the PC gamers standing idly by while the two monkeys on the consoles are like.
So Decado says Everborn, slap an Xbox and a PS5 Pro sticker on it and you're done. You know what's funny? You know how you name the PC? I named it Xbox Series X Pro.
There you go.
Yes. And so now this is now we're gonna come to the
did I lose you, sir?
No. It says, why does this feel like the scene from Memento with Everborn just paying his PC to dress up like a console and lay in bed with him? That's exactly what this is. That is 1,000%.
Maverick 707 with a $5 super chat. That is the tweet of the day, sir. Thank you. That is the message of the day. I appreciate you.
No, but like
that's great.
1,000%. This is a console in disguise. This is lipstick on a pig, right?
Yep. Well, but the pig is beautiful. Don't be hating on the pig there, sir.
Call me Kermit.
That's an expensive pig right there, boy. What are you talking
about? But no, I mean, listen, the whole point was to use a controller. The whole point was to have the library. The whole point was to have the performance. And so now I ask, what is there to argue with people about?
Right. And then when you hear one of your platform go, this
game's not coming to my platform. It's coming to mine.
Now you see why I was nonplussed when all of this started blowing.
No, you should be plussed. That's not what we're talking about right now.
I was nonplussed.
Deserves the smoke, but
I was nonplussed.
And this in a way, this is the smoke, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes. And this is you taking your wares elsewhere. That's right. Yeah.
Right. And maybe I would have still been in the pay pig trance if they would have kept things status quo.
He said pay pig trance. Okay. Yes, yes, sir.
But now this is the important bit, right? We talked about the money, we talked about the historics, we talked about the upgrades to dress the thing up so I could have that experience, right? We talked about the thinking behind it, we talked about the performance, we talked about the parts. Yep. Here's the interesting part that I think is worth a discussion. We've all heard Phil's vision of the future, right? He wants these stores to live side by side, right? He wants the handheld.
I'll start playing Balatro or something. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I need to stop.
So he wants these stores to live side by side, right? He wants Windows to get out of the way on his handheld. He wants to pick up his handheld and play where he left off and have a similar UI across all, right? That's fantastic. It sounds great.
Yeah.
And they won't do it for another 2 years at least.
Yep. So in the meantime, what do you do?
No, this is not in the. Oh, look at Slow-Mo enters the chat.
And Slow-Mo backslap member for 1 month. Thank you, good sir. He says, long story short, Slow-Mo was right. It's okay to admit it. Well, you know what, Slow? I've been taking my victory lap all day because I got digital receipts. He refuses to acknowledge that I said this to him months ago, like season 2 of this show, when he used to fight me on this whole thing. And now he's literally the Mr. Gabe Bucks himself. Hey, it is what it is. Mission accomplished, ladies and gentlemen. We're done here.
So this is the other thing. So now that vision of this ubiquitous gaming thing where your games come with you, your saves come with you, you pick up where you left off, you can go from handheld to PC to TV, and it all just happens seamlessly. Guess what? All of that is happening now, and today Phil is cheating off of Valve's homework. He's copying Valve's Gabe's homework, right? And so, which is fine, but like it actually works, right? And so the thing is, by the time Xbox gets ready with that vision, how far along will big picture mode get? Because right now I'm using third-party open source stuff to go and turn off the shell. Maybe Valve does that one day, or you think they're running into problems? I understand. What I'm saying is it is getting better and better.
They're running into problems. You're right. It is getting better and better, and absolutely they should move quickly. But I guess my question is, could that be why we don't see them more full bore heading Game Pass onto Steam Deck, Game Pass onto Steam proper? Game
Pass on Steam makes no sense. It makes zero sense.
This is my point. They know that they still have one Achilles heel that will get people to buy into it if they give you a more seamless experience with your Game Pass collection, which they know a lot of people have bought into. If you make that thing seamless for Valve, now you don't need them at all. But they still have that, and you're doing a lot of DIY, right? Because you could have easily just put Holo ISO or Chimera OS on this thing and called it a day. You insisted on staying in Windows and doing all your tweaking and twerking because you want your Game Pass library and your Xbox like cloud saves and stuff to transition with you. This could be why they are holding out, because if they have that ace in the hole and they give you a great experience in that, as well as giving you your Steam stuff and all the extra, they still got you. There's still a potential to get everything.
Well, again, I do agree with that, right? Because there's an opportunity. Listen, I'm fully aware that not like I am ecstatic with the results. I have 95% of what I want. The two things I don't have is the controller won't wake the PC. I have to press the other little keyboard controller thing. I'm working on that.
It's right here.
Like that'll make it happen.
I'll send that to you. Yes.
So that, and then the TV is not switching to the input when the PC turns on. And but again, quick,
Tim the Sorcerer, thank you. £2 super chat. He says, thank you guys. Had a great time. Have a good weekend to all. Have a great weekend, sir. It's always great to have you with us. Thank you, sir. Catch us later. I'm sure we'll talk again soon. Peace.
Right. So those are the only two things that it's not doing that the consoles do. But other than that, I have fully replicated the experience. I've hid the desktop. There's nothing running. There's no Windows pop-ups going on. I'm not dealing with updates. Shout out to Zach Riley or Riley, sorry.
Thank you, Zach.
For becoming a member. So I have my console experience and I'm playing these games at the highest fidelity possible, right? Yeah. I don't care what Digital Foundry says. I'm the benchmark with these specs.
There you go.
For now,
That's
anyway.
Right. That's right. Yeah.
But again, because I'm doing off-the-shelf parts, if I want to upgrade at one point, I can.
At any time you want. That's right. And you don't have to pick up the whole thing, whole cloth.
Right. And replace it. It was 4,000 this time, but you know, if in a year and a half from now I want to get a 5090,
yeah,
when it's on sale,
and again, you don't have to follow Mr. Everborn Saga's path. That's not the only path. You can kind of go mini PC route, $700-800. You get all of that, right, in a more humble fashion,
right?
But it still gets you what you need done.
But the point is, console experience, seamless integration with the handheld, which is Steam Deck, yes. Right? Yes. And that's a native handheld, not in the cloud. Saves follow me. I have a user experience that is the same across the way. This vision is here now. Shout out to Ducato with the 5 memberships. Get them while they are hot.
Thank you, sir. That's amazing. Thank you, brother. That's awesome. That is so kind of you. Yes, absolutely. Thank you, man.
So this is, and again, you don't need a 4090. Nope. You can get a 4070 Ti and still way outperform these consoles.
You don't need a
4080
card. You don't need a 40 series. You don't need
3080.
You don't need
it,
bro. The hardware that people have been enjoying and playing in their consoles is so many years behind that even a Steam Deck is about a Series S. Even like when you unlock it, when you unshackle it from the profile, you can do so much more. You don't need a big beast to replicate that. If you want all the frames, go for it, right? We want all the frames, so we go for it. But you don't need all of that. You can get something like this, and it will do you. And I hear people in the chat asking me what brand I use. I'll put a few. I'll show a few of the ones that I recommend on screen as we go along. But it's not even about the brand necessarily. It's about the specs that are in it. Because remember, as we were talking about with Everborn, every PC has components. This has all the same components. They're just miniaturized and on one chip. So when you're buying it, you're looking for 32 gigs versus 64 versus 16. You're looking for 7,500 mega transfers versus 6,400 mega transfers. As long as you have your minimum spec met, you can buy one of these things and it really gets you what you need.
So the thing is, Darth Kermit says you need a 40 series for 4K 60, which everyone say if it's not even won't play again. Well, hold on. Let me answer that. So you don't, and once you get into this world, especially if you're going with these NVIDIA cards, once you start getting into DLSS and frame generation and thing like that, like you don't actually need 4K to have that experience. It's just that the consoles can't do that.
So this device, which is my new little sneaky PC, this device has a 7840U, which is the same thing as the ROG Ally, as the Legion Go. It's a little bit more performant than the ROG and the Legion Go, but it's about the same spec. This happens to have 64 gigs of RAM and all of this. This device, when you turn frame generation on, gets you 110 frames per second on some games. Just this device. Now, people will go, oh, it's a handheld or whatever. Shout out to the great The Fox, who's been on our channel before. This is his main big PC. He uses this on the go, right? When he's out and about, and he told me this. He uses this on the go when he's out and about, and then when he gets home, he docks it, plugs it in, plugs the cable in, and he's got a 4090 external enclosure. Plugs it in on his big TV, and he's playing games at full clip. You don't need the big machine. You can just get something like this with a dock. You can upscale it through standard upscaling, or you can add an external GPU if you want more power. There are options available to you is the point. And it's not just one path of, if you want all the frames, you got to get a monster machine. You don't need that. You definitely don't.
Okay, so, but I think this is an important discussion to let people know. Again, you don't have to do what I did. I plan on keeping this for many, many years. And so I just said, let me get what's the best that I can get right now. But you definitely don't need that, especially with frame generation, especially with DLSS and things like that. You don't have to do that. The thing to focus on here, or at least what I'm focusing on, let's get those PCs out of the offices, especially if you're doing it just to game on. So it's not dual purpose or whatever. So you don't have to roll it from one room to the other. Let's get a PC. Let's again, I hope that Xbox solves this for us in terms of the user experience, but the user experience is here right now. It's on Steam and it's minimal setup. I just went through the extra things because I could have just said only run Steam at startup, start Steam in big picture mode, and call it a day, right? Yep. I am just going those extra miles so that there's no discernible difference and I don't ever have to see the desktop unless I want to. That's why I'm going through that. But again, Xbox can solve that. What I'm saying is you don't have to wait for them. You don't have to wait for a handheld. You can get a ROG Ally right now. You can get a Steam Deck right now. You can get an AOK Zoe right now. Right? And you can have a unified user experience and you can have your games follow you. Now, again, that's going to be in the Steam network, but everything goes through Steam and there are tools to get your Game Pass games on these other devices, right?
And by the way, so people have been asking real quick, people asking like what kind of specs what I recommend. If you have to have a company, Minisforum, very good company. They sell a bunch of mini PCs. Right. And you'll go, I don't know what to look for. You look for the same thing you look for everywhere else. This one's got 64 gigs of RAM and a 1 terabyte drive. This one's got 32 gigs of RAM and a 1 terabyte drive. Like you literally plug them in. They're tiny machines. Like as I was showing you mine, this one's for my kid. I load this up with Minecraft for her and like educational things. Right. Some of them are way more performant than others. You need help. You ask around. You ask your friendly neighborhood content creators. We in the DMs. We got your back. Right. If you want to dip a toe in the PC waters, you don't have to go full bore. This one is $449, $450. You can get it in the US, the UK, Australia. Like you can get it everywhere. This is possible. It is possible, right? And there are many different kinds, and they all have different specs.
And so the other thing that I'll say is, if I talk to 90% of my brothers, my fellow console pay pig troglodytes, right? Listen, you're still gonna be a pay pig on PC. You're just gonna do it on the hardware up front, and then you get the discounts afterwards. It works out.
I say, and you are uniquely qualified to understand where I'm going with this. I say PCs are like the Teslas of the gaming world. High upfront costs, but then you go, what's a gas station? You just blow right by, right? What is a $70 game? I paid $39 for Dragon's Dogma day one.
I couldn't get that for cheaper than $55 because I double dipped on that.
You got to strike early. You got to strike early. I strike early. What do you call it?
I know it's still 70 on Xbox and PlayStation. No, that's all I know.
There you go. Right?
But anyway,
got it for $35. Right? It will come out full price. But the thing is, and the other beauty here is, yes, that if you're not in PC now, it's a big upfront cost, but going forward, you're just going to upgrade the parts that you need. Components. That's right. Yeah.
Anyway, so now the other thing, like I said, if I talk to 90% of the people that have issues going to PC, 90% of those people will tell you it's the user experience. They'll tell you they don't want to be at the desk, right? They want the
drivers,
right? And so what I'm saying is that like Valve has solved that with big picture mode. And if you wanted a handheld, that's also right there. And all the games come there. So while people are crying about the PS5 Pro and Xbox games look better on PlayStation than on Xbox games look the best on my PC.
Indeed,
and Xbox is the one who offers that. Shout out to King David.
Mission accomplished, ladies and gentlemen. We got him. I'm sorry.
So you guys can
You can
be upset about Hellblade, but I tell you how I'm gonna play Hellblade. Right?
And what I will say is,
worry about
this device here will play Hellblade better than the console. And I know that because it will give you the options to do with it what you will. It may not get 4K 60, right? But you'll know definitively you don't like it at 30 frames. Unlock that 30 frames. Maybe drop some settings back and see if you can get to 40. If you have a VRR screen, you're butter, right? That's just the way it works on PC. Options.
So this is the thing, but now that's the positive side of it, like the positive salesman side, whatever. But
here's
that future, not negative about this, but I'm saying if I can do this today, does and we can all assume that the Steam Deck 2 is going to come out, right? Big picture mode is going to get better and better, right? They're going to solve some of these issues, right? Because Steam right now has an extended driver for Xbox controllers, right? They could update that driver to solve the turning on and turning off the thing, right? These are things that they could do. There are software solutions to send the signal to the TV to turn it on and off. These things that I'm trying to figure out manually, they can put those options right in there and give you a full console experience, and you won't have to see your desktop. So again, I ask, knowing how fast Microsoft as a company moves,
which is not that fast.
By the time they come out with this, even if they can successfully transition their most hardcore players over to PC, is there a concern that because once you get into PC, it's almost like you got to be on Steam? And if Steam provides such a full-fleshed experience, do they run the risk of basically just funneling their customers to Valve? So yeah, you'll get them to go to PC, but now they're on PC and now they're not using your store anymore. They're using.
But remember, like, while we've been saying this for a little bit now, right? While Valve is focused on one avenue, while PlayStation is focused on one avenue, Microsoft is focused really high level above it. Even if they cede the ground to Valve, you're still in their ecosystem. You still live and play where they want you to live and play. They want to be the fundamental bedrock with which gaming is done. And you can see that because they spread their games across multiple storefronts at this point. So even if in a world where their consoles are depreciated to a point where they no longer make them, they're okay with you playing in other consoles as long as you're buying their wares. Even if in a world where their storefront is not used as the primary focus, as long as you're playing in their waters, in their ecosystem, in the Windows fundamental framework, they're okay with like working a deal in the background to let the Valve be the storefront of choice, and they get kickbacks, because that will happen. They're getting kickbacks everywhere. They're giving and getting kickbacks, right? So my thing is, you may not know what's going on in those conversations, but don't assume, why would Steam want to do that? Why would Valve want to do that? Why would Epic want to do that? Their $1 trillion pockets are beyond your comprehension. You just enjoy where you can enjoy it, because there definitely is a reason why they're funneling people the way they're funneling people.
So Ducato makes an interesting point. Xbox is more likely to do a certified part modular console versus full transition. We'll see about that. I personally think they're going to do it at the software layer first, meaning they're going to update the Xbox or the Game Pass app to have its own version of a big picture mode, and then they'll build in some of these TDP controllers into the Windows Game Bar and things like that. I think that's the way that they'll go.
Windows Game Bar, still absolute hogwash. They need to get rid of that thing.
It is. But I say that to say, in terms of them being a certified modular console, so that's interesting, because if you think about this right now, look at your AOK Zoe, look at the ROG Ally, look at that whatever folding mini PC you have thing.
GPD Win Max 2.
Whatever it's called. They're literally all using the same APU.
Same chip. Although I will give these guys some flowers. unlike except Valve is the only other company that's been able to do this. You do more with less as far as TDPs and all of that. You know how Valve is able to live in that 4 or 5 TDP range and do so much with that what do you call it, the Ally needs 10 TDP to do what Valve does with 4. This does as well. GPD has been able to really like optimize it to the point where you can do so much more with very low levels. But by and large, they're all the same. They're all wearing the same underneath, and they're all just having different clothes on top. Right? They're all the 7840U chipset.
Right. And so the other thing that I would say is I think that they that is a possibility, you know, and that's a step between, but I don't know if they become that certified parts thing that they I don't know how much sense that's gonna make for them. I guess here's a question: are they going to do another full fat console that's completely separated from PC, or will the next generation of Xbox, whether it's we have to pick the parts, will it be Windows based or will it be this Xbox OS based?
That's the question, right? I hope the answers happen in June, where we kind of get a bit more
Absolutely
visual.
not. You're gonna get games in June.
I hope they touch on the future idea, because your question there is super apt. I do see a world where they go, look, people still want a standard Xbox in their living room. Let's give it to them while transitioning and also offer a handheld, right? Or they say we can make a handheld, or we can make a transitional device, a device that does run the Windows kernel in a more real way. It's basically a PC, but then we'll spend time on that UI to the point where you don't think it's a PC. It could go either way still, right? And I'm hoping to get answers in that realm, because if they do give you a full fat standard console just with better specs, this vision gets pushed out much further out, right? Because you're not going to expect developers to move and shake to your whims. You know, they develop in a specific kind of way. As we all know, development cycles are getting longer. You know, that means you won't see the fruition of all of this until 2030 plus, you know, which would be unfortunate for some of us graybeards. You know what I'm saying?
Right. But again, in all that time, how far along is Valve getting?
Well, Valve, yes. Well, but right. Valve has been slowly churning this butter since the 90s.
Right. I'm just saying. So that's my only concern with this. Now, for me, I would rather be doing what I'm doing now in an Xbox-centric UI and having, because this is the other thing that's happening, right? Now I'm buying all of my third-party games or non-Game Pass games. I'm buying them from Steam.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So all the while they're doing that, I'm building a library in some place that I so far haven't considered home, but is getting very cozy. Right.
But you know what though? It's like those of us who use front ends from our TVs, right? If you are a person who uses like Apple TV and that's your main focus of viewing, or somebody who uses Plex and that's your main focus of viewing, where's that show from? Is it on TBS? Is it on ABC? Is it on any? You don't know. You don't care. It just shows up. You watch it. I think there's a little bit of that energy that Microsoft is thinking about, where, yeah, right now, every store is beholden and has their unique features, but there will come a world where the store you purchased it from is transparent to the consumer, right? Yeah, you'll buy it there, and then the platform holders and the store holders will do some back and forth machinations to make that good. But you as the consumer won't be like, well, this is my Steam game. Well, this is my Xbox game. They're just there on your screen, and the store becomes an afterthought. And they want to live in that world, because whether they get all of your money or some of your money, they are the underlining ecosystem that lets that happen.
Honestly, like, we'll see if they do that. But I think if the worst case scenario is you have to leave the gaming experience to go in a desktop mode, install Steam, and then you can add Steam games to your Xbox UI library, I think that'll be fine for a lot of people too.
The great OBM agreeing with me. I always feel good when the OBM agrees with me.
Now, another thing to think about, right? We're focused on the store, right? And I think a thing that we may want to keep in mind is that if you go PC, you're in an open thing, right? You're in an open ecosystem. You can have many stores there, and you will. So there's no world where you go to PC and say you can only lock people to your store.
Absolutely not.
So it may sound altruistic, but it is just pragmatic, right?
Well, remember, I've said this before. If you tie this to Windows 12, for example, right, then it doesn't become a factor of, oh well, will we allow Steam on there? Because just like the browser ballot, they have a mandate to make sure other stores are represented. Otherwise, it's a total monopoly. Windows owns this space. So if you go to Windows 12, make your front-end UI front and center, your game store front and center without representing the others, they'll all run to regulators and go, look, they're foreclosing on us, right? So while Microsoft wants to have their cake and eat it too, Allah have all the stores in their platform, they can use that as a barometer to go, look, whether you like it or not, we need to represent you because we have a monopoly as far as the operating system is concerned. That's how they're able to get all stores on their platform, whether you like it or not. Otherwise, you're being left out in the cold.
But furthermore, right? We talk about all the revenue that the console market makes. We talk about why would Microsoft want to walk away from, the Fortnite money and the GTA money and all that. But we are moving to a world where Epic and Take-Two and EA, they can go. We're getting closer and closer to a direct to consumer thing, and that may be mandated by regulatory bodies, right? Because right now that conversation is being had with Apple and Google, right? This is just not a thing that exists on Windows. That's why they're not having it with Microsoft. But regulators even though it makes sense because you're doing a subsidy model and you're offering, cheaper hardware than it would otherwise cost. Regulators don't seem that keen to care, right? They may tell, because the same 30% rule is what regulators all over the world are fighting Apple against. And I know it's apples and oranges, right? There are 2 billion iPhones out there, 4 billion Androids out there. And so for them to lock down a store is very different than the console manufacturers who's subsidizing hardware. I get that. You as a gamer get that. Do you really believe these regulators who are asking Apple, asking Tim Cook, or asking Google CEOs why their iPhone iMessage isn't working? Do you think they're going to understand that?
They definitely will not. Absolutely.
And so there is a world that could come about where they just force even console manufacturers to put different stores. And once that happens, Take-Two, forget about Xbox and PlayStation for a second. And we looked at that top 25 played list, right? Mm-hmm. All of the major games right now are platforms in and of themselves.
Yep.
Right? Genshin is a platform, right? Roblox is a platform. Fortnite is a platform, right? These are the top games. Obviously, Call of Duty, a platform, right? And these are people that have their own in-universe economics. And so they have this ability to go direct to consumer if that happens. And if you pull out those top earners from these closed stores, what will they really be worth? Because we can look at how much money and playtime the top 6 games make versus everything else. Mm-hmm. And so when you're in that world, I think the next answer is you have to go, you have to homogenize. You have to be everywhere.
That's right.
Right. And
right. People are mad, but it's the only way forward.
And that doesn't mean Sony putting their games on Xbox, but it does probably mean Sony expanding their horizons and maybe going day and date PC or lessening their staggered releases on their single player games. But if you're going to PC and Xbox evolves into PC, then you're on Xbox. Right? And you listen, we could say whatever, you could stand on business all you want, right? If a shareholder from Sony Corp sees Microsoft Games, who everybody says is selling no consoles, but they're making more money by putting their games everywhere. You don't think that question has to be asked? To at least be asked by Hiroki Toki?
For those who have seen enough of Fallout, do you know what fiduciary responsibility is? That's a question that's asked in Fallout. You'll get there. Yes. I mean, they have a fiduciary responsibility to make as much money as they can for their shareholders. And if you're looking across the street and seeing people making money, the question becomes, hey, why are we not making the same money? Prove to me, justify to me why it's okay for them to take all the money that's on the table and it's not for us, right? And obviously, that's where the machinations of...
And it's going to be a case-by-case basis. Look at that term, case-by-case.
Yeah, you see, there you go.
So again, a Helldivers might make more sense for them than a God of War, but we'll see what happens. But what we are also seeing in this world is we've seen publishers like Capcom and like CD Projekt Red. We've seen all these companies and EA say, listen, our number one platform is PC. Right? And so again, I ask my friends, you see take Xbox and PlayStation out of it. You see where these things are going. You see the way Phil's talking, but you don't have to listen to Phil. You might think Phil's a liar, right? That's fine. And sometimes he is. But look at the broader picture of where Sony is telling you they're going. Look at every third-party publisher making sure they have a PC release. Every game will be there. And if you're a hardcore enthusiast, like if you're watching this 4-hour podcast, I'm going to assume you are.
Hey, it's not 4 hours, only 3. We're about to end.
Sure. But I'm sure if you could spend more money, you would to get better performance. You can do that on PC. You can build to your heart's content. And all the games will be there. And if simplified user experience is your issue, that is happening right now and it's getting better. So these are all the realizations I came to. And this is what was driving the decision making, right? And instead of waiting for Xbox to do it, I realized it's here right now. And the Steam Deck's great. And I got the missus to approve that RGB beast in the bedroom. I
love it. I love it when he listens to me only maybe 4 years after I say it, but it's okay. He still listened. We're here now. We are here.
I mean, it's not the first time we you know what? I'm gonna save that joke. We'll save that. That's an offline joke.
Yeah. But no,
I was gonna say it's not the first time she let me do things in the bedroom that she wasn't sure about in the first place, but then she ended up liking it.
Oh no! Don't do that! Don't do that! Don't do. Oh, come on, man!
But
what are we doing here? PG-13, sir.
The thing is, you can. This is what I'm here to say. You can have the console experience. And the other thing that I noticed since I've done this, and again, I've also been super busy. I've also been like tweaking and twerking to get the thing the way I want. Oh, one thing I will say, if you think you got to go into settings and run benchmarks for every game, that's not true. No, and all these updates things, that's not really a thing, right? It is a thing, but it's not as bad as you think it is.
It's your choice.
Yeah, right? But the thing that I will say is I have not messed with any settings, because what they do on PC now is they read your system and they try to guess what are the best settings. You can change it from there. But if you have so much overhead, it's just not going to be a problem, right? I'm just playing everything on Ultra, right? Not even thinking about it. The only thing that I do in my settings is I turn on DLSS and frame generation. Yeah. That's it. JD, and that's the same thing as me going in the options menu on console and going to performance mode.
And go to performance profile. That's right. Yeah. Real quick, JD Gamer, $5 super chat. He says, how do you feel about the portable S that may hit this fall versus a portable / dockable hybrid console that may hit or be planned for 2026?
Okay, a portable S is not coming this fall, and a portable dockable.
Is this insider? Is this insider ever?
It's not insider anything. This is just me using my.
I am not the engineer of gaming. I'm an engineer, but not of gaming. I'm a gaming enthusiast. and I'm happy that a lot of the stuff I do in my engineering work kind of dovetails into this world as well. But thank you for the compliment. Appreciate that. Yes.
So they said you used level 5 Inception on me to get me over to PC. This wasn't case ante. I'm just very stubborn and I have to come to it on my own.
You see? Yeah. I only said it on episode 10 or something, but here we are, episode 131, and he's like, let me tell you about this thing I discovered. He is the Apple of gaming, ladies and gentlemen. He just discovered PC gaming. Congratulations.
So, I mean, my kids do this to me all the time, right? I tell them something over and over again, and then anyway.
But no, I'm happy you're here, man. This is great. This is absolutely great.
But the thing that I wanted to say was when you get over here, and if you can, there's different things that hold people back. It could be money, it could be complexity, it could be like the thoughts of like dogmatic beliefs around PC. It could be you think that it's gonna be more headache than it is, and as much as we're on X and as much as we're locked in, most of us can handle this. And I think if you're an enthusiast, you probably should want the best way to experience these things. And so again, ease of use is there, power is there. And so the last thing I'll say on this, which is something I said before.
I love that. Who you gonna believe? An Xbox, PCMR, or PCMR Everborn Sega? Well done, sir. That's really good.
So the thing that I'll say, the thing that I've noticed, right, is once you make this change and you have this thing feeling like a console, because that's the just experience you're used to.
Yep.
You see people arguing on the timeline about why something's not 30 or why is this not coming to my platform, and you just like, wait a minute. What?
Yes.
Who? Like you look at it completely differently.
And now you see where I came from with it. Now you see. This has been my life, my whole gaming life. So.
But we'll, and again, the other thing that I do need to say, I might be a special case, and I want to bring this up because Lucius Augustus said something about this.
Yeah.
I do not play multiplayer games. True. Now, your experience on PC could be super different if you play multiplayer games.
I mean, like, maybe. But you know what? Even that I will push back on a little bit because yeah, there's cheating on PC, right? But there's also the only reason why cheating is prevalent on PCs because those options are available to you, sure. But that's why de novo exists. That's why they lock it down. That's why Steam is where you play your game. If you are a multiplayer platform gamer, let's say you're playing COD, you can try cheating on COD, and many people do. But trust me, it doesn't last long, right? Like over time, they have really refined that stuff to a fine point. So yes, compared to consoles, you will always get more cheaters than you will on PC. You definitely will. But it's not like, oh, it's just the wild, wild west and they let you get away with whatever you want. Like all those cheat systems exist for a reason. That's the reason why Destiny 2 still doesn't play on Linux, because they're not comfortable or confident in the anti-cheat systems that are in Linux right now, and they don't want to spend the money to get it there, so they're just not going to put it there at all, right? It's not to say that it's just a wild west and anybody does whatever the hell they want on that side. There's whack-a-mole happening, but they are addressing it. Depends on the game you play.
Yeah, and the last thing I'll say is it's surprising, but the thing that really, above everything else we talked about, that drove this decision was the Steam Deck and the need to, or the want to be able to switch back and forth seamlessly. It's like I bought into the Phil's vision, but I don't want to wait for Phil. Right? And so I was doing so much gaming on the Steam Deck, and then I was double dipping on games, but the ecosystems don't have cross saves unless it's a bigger game, because like Prince of Persia had cross saves, Baldur's Gate had cross saves, right? And Diablo,
about Fallout 76 having to be manual, right. And that's his game.
And Diablo had cross saves, and those are the last few games I played. I'm like, this is what it should just be like. And I kept having to think about.
Are unfair though, technically,
right?
those are online only games, so they always have cross saves,
Right. But what I'm getting at is like that bringing the experience with me everywhere. I don't think it should be up to individual games implementing that. And I was doing that to go back and forth between handheld and console on the TV, because sometimes I want to play on the TV, sometimes I want to play on the handheld. And now, to me, with this big picture mode, I've gotten that, right? Like I'm just playing on the Steam Deck, or I'm playing on the TV now via the 4090, and I don't think about it. I just get the game and I play it, and I buy it once, and there's nothing. It's just the Steam cloud saves just work across the board, and that to me is what it should be like. And so that was the main driver, because I found myself doing 90% of my gaming on this.
Layden Master, talk about PC gamers consistently sidestepping and moving away from cheating topics. You should note that those of us on this stage anyway, we're not multiplayer gamers. Like I don't play multiplayer games like that. The most multiplayer games you'll catch me play more often than not is Halo, and I haven't seen too much cheating in Halo. Maybe it's different elsewhere, but I haven't seen too much cheating in Halo. And even there, I don't play at that high level as well. I know a lot of people who play in COD on PC, and there also, yes, there's cheaters, but it's not as rampant as all that. So maybe your use case is a little different, right? But we're earnest and honest here with it, right? If it is rampant cheating, then it's rampant cheating.
I mean, I consider you cheating in single player games when you use WeMod, but that's just me.
No. That's ridiculous. That is ridiculous. So and for those, that's a good segue to do a quick plug. If you want to know what WeMod is, if you want to know what it's about, if you want to ask questions about it, catch myself and Mr. John Wolf Monday nights, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we will talk more PC-centric stuff, the tools we use, all of this and that, right? But in the world, like to answer your question more directly, Everborn, in a world where we are in the PC world, right? I have played, for example, the Master Chief Collection. I love that franchise, right? But I don't play a multiplayer. I only play the single player. I love going through the story from beginning to end, where he starts, how it ends, everything in between. That is hours and hours and hours of gameplay. And the Master Chief Collection allows you to play it seamlessly from game to game without getting out of it, right? So I can go in there, mod it up, put ray tracing in there, right? Put path tracing across the board, and then the game looks and plays completely differently than it had before, right? I can make it so that when I'm playing an emulated game, Zelda, Breath of the Wild, I hate certain weapons breaking, so I can set it so that the weapons that I like, that are my choice, never break. These are the options I have, within the PC space. And yes, if you put like what do you call it, a fast travel behind a paywall, right? I can sit there and use a mod to go, nope, no fast travel behind the paywall for me. I will do that. But this is my game, single player game that I am playing, right? If it's a multiplayer game and you do that, they will catch you. They will banish you to the shadow realm, and you deserve that, right? Because if you're playing a multiplayer game, it's an even playing field. You're playing with others who are on other platforms, and that is completely a different use case. On the PC side, on the single player side, it is your choice to do with what you will, and I think that should be allowed. And actually, WeMod specifically and other tools like that were meant for handicapped folks who may not be able to play like everybody else plays, so you can turn certain dials to make it more palatable for your use case and your capabilities. So it's all fair in my humble opinion. So that's what it is there. But Everborn Saga, like, I think this has been a very useful conversation. Initially, I was coming after you because you've been Mr. PC console bandwagon for some time.
I've switched. I am now a console experience gamer.
He got rich and switched, is what he's saying.
I am still advocating for the console experience in the PC space. Yeah. That is what I'm going to try to do, and I'm going to try to evangelize using the PC as a console.
But you know what though? I do really think this was a useful conversation, because at the end of the day, I think there are folks who play PC games, play console games because that's where they want to play, right? And absolutely 100% no shade in that. You value the convenience over all the extra stuff that you have to do yourself. I have no issues with that. But there are also others who play in the PC space, in the console space, because they feel that's the only place to play or the only way to get things done, because the PC is the waters are too deep for them. Or
there's still people that think Android doesn't have good cameras or smooth scrolling. Exactly.
And for those people,
that was true at one time.
Yes. Right. But that's not the case anymore. And so it's good to bring to the congregation, some changes and nuances and advocate and let people know, hey, what you think might not be what it used to be. You may want to readdress, you may want to pay attention to it and see that you might find it valuable. Before we get out of here, I will say, when I first started this week and we were talking about this, I put a thumbnail together. I put the thumbnails together, and this was the initial thumbnail. And everybody was coming at me saying, "Come on, man, this is way too messy for this show." So I will let the those who are still here, the 500 people still watching. Oh my God! Thank you guys so much for being here. I will let the many people in our chat that are watching this. I'll let y'all give me your opinion. I opted for the Matrix motif. I figured that was cool. But is this too messy for people? This was the algorithm that helped me create this, and I was just like, "Oh man, this looks too bad." People can't get enough of the bald sad dude in the room. I'm sorry. Oh man. But yes, this was going to be the original thumbnail, and yeah, people were like, "No." They would throw virtual tomatoes at you, so I opted for something different. So yes,
I think you should have went with it. Listen, hey, call me what you want. But I consider this beast that is running Windows. Yeah. This is my Xbox Pro. So yes, I should call it a Steambox Pro, because maybe I'll make the switch when Xbox finally gets their UI out. But this is a Steambox. This is the Steambox that I was gonna build.
No Diddy them cheeks. Yeah, damn. That's right. That's what it is. He says, "K Asante, I disapprove. Please take this off your screen." Sorry, no Diddy them cheeks. I will do that. I will take that off the screen immediately. But all right, we're good. All right. So this has been an awesome show. Where I think we're right about at the end of it all. A few last minute housekeeping notes, as in, please hit that like button if you haven't hit it already. So many folks came to our show. I think this is the record numbers we've never. Like just me and you, and we've had like absolute record numbers on this show today. Thank you all so much for being here and representing. For my folks on the Twitter streets, I see you. For people on YouTube, it's great that you're watching there. And even the few who kind of caught us and have been catching us on Twitch, we're everywhere, baby. We appreciate you checking us out and watching. Thank you guys so much for the continued support. If you happen to have the ability to, how about you head over to YouTube and hit the like button or subscribe to the channel. Let folks know that we do this every Saturday. We enjoy coming here and having awesome gaming conversations. I will ask, and I'll also put it on Twitter, if there are any voices that you think, hey, would be awesome on this show. We don't discriminate. Any walks of life, as long as you keep it respectful. Let us know. We want to have them on the show. I'm trying to broaden our reach a bit more and get a lot more voices in the room, a lot more folks that will lend well to the conversation. Also, understand that we are having a giveaway for the Hellblade 2 coins. You will see more from us. Most likely, I'll talk more about it in depth on next week's show. Maybe some stuff on Twitter you'll see as well. Join our Discord. In the Discord, we tend to have these kind of conversations on a daily, weekly. We get into chat rooms, or we go back and forth whenever the news is fresh, or we have ideas, or maybe you need some help. Come check us out. We're absolutely here. We appreciate y'all for rocking with us and being here with us. Oh yeah, of course, wrong thing. And there you go. There's the Discord in the chat. We appreciate y'all for being here. Mr. Everborn Saga, I know you are very close to the next chapter of the book, sir. Why don't you tell folks where they can find you? Tell folks how they can become a part of that.
Yeah, the Kickstarter pre-launch page is going to go up on May 1st. I think we're going to launch the Kickstarter on June 1st, or the first Sunday in June, for reasons. That's what I'm aiming for. So the book's done. We're working on lettering now, and we're in production of the following books, but we're getting the campaign ready. So look out on May 1st. There'll be like a watch page that you can all go and sign up to, and it'll be great if you guys do that. We're going to talk about it every week, just to make sure you guys are looking at it, because even if you can't like contribute, just like sharing that page and having enough people sign it, like pre-watching it, because that just means it'll notify you when the campaign goes live. That helps us out with Kickstarter to potentially get us added to projects we love, and then once that happens, it helps us out a lot. So even if we'll talk about that more when it comes, but the sign up page is going to go up on May 1st.
Excellent, sir. I will also say keep an eye out, because and he was here earlier in the show. Shout out to him. The Great Wandering Dutch, the indie showcase, is coming right back around. So you will see us potentially also featuring some games in there as well. Maybe Mr. Everborn Saga may have some things. We don't know yet. We shall see. But yeah, he's out there doing great work. And I suspect you'll see some trailers and stuff coming from him very soon, because the showcase is coming very close at hand. So keep an eye out on that. Let's see what else. Oh, the Discord. I will be doing my code spring cleaning in the Discord. So if you are a member, you may catch some codes. I've been looking around to see if I can find codes for consoles. It's hard to come by. All you get is a bunch of Steam codes. So unfortunately, I'll do my best. But more often than not, if you are a handheld gamer or whatnot,
Steam codes, you say?
A lot of Steam codes. I have a lot. I mean, I have pages and pages and pages of Steam codes. So I'll be, peppering it through the community in our Discord. So if you have a chance to come check it out. If the link I'm dropping there doesn't work, I think some people said they tried it. It may not be working. Check the description. I will make a fresh a fresh Discord link. I'll put it in the description. Yeah, I will make sure. I always make sure that a good link is available there. People can come join us. We always appreciate you joining us. But let's see what else is there. We had a good time. You have joined the PCMR, the master
console
race
experience movement. This is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm starting. Okay. I'm starting. This is a movement, people. Umbra is with me. It is the console experience gamer. We are taking it to the max.
Sure. He just refuses. He refuses to acknowledge that he is betraying his struggle.
No. You know what? I'm getting T-shirts made. Console experience gamer.
Yes, but okay. It has been a great time. I appreciate y'all being here. We will CEG next week. The CEG, he says. Check us out next week, where we will have a lot more fun and a lot of craziness to be talked about. We'll most likely have some interesting guests as well. I have a few interesting people lined up that we're looking forward to chatting with. So until next week, have a good day. I know Pong and Steel don't have a show this week. I was actually trying to get Pong on, but it was a little too late. It's always good to chat with him. It's difficult to do so since we're on the same time zone. So whenever I get a chance to, I get them on the show as well. Go check out some more content. There's a lot to be talked about this week. I'm sure a lot of people are having great things. So until next week, until Monday night, myself and John Wolf will be back at it again. Have a good one, and we will see y'all later. Peace.
Nice to be in orbit.